The workday is coming to an end.
It is 5 o'clock. I will see you all tomorrow.
But Gwynn and Chris are just getting started.
Sports talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
How about
Tony
Hungary?
needs one for the title.
Hungary?
Hungary?
Did you say Hungary?
He said Hungary.
He's not allowed to win if he calls it Hungary.
And Chris Ello.
And as soon as the white smoke comes out the chimney, they've got a new pope,
What's
and
a
everybody
chimney?
celebrates. It's a chimney, or it's my version of a chimney.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And welcome in, everybody. Midweek get-together here on Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Frank Marchese, Big Frank, sitting in once again for Matt Scraby as we get started here on what should be a good Wednesday program. Tony, of course, is in San Francisco, where the Padres will be looking to make it 3 in a row over the Gigantes later on tonight. Big Frank and I are here in the Odyssey Palace Studios in San Diego, California. Tony Gwynn Jr.,
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's so obvious for me to open the show with this. Although I've been looking in my replies, but I can't go back far enough to find whoever it was, maybe 3 weeks ago, who tweeted to me in response to something I said great about Manny Machado.
He's not clutch enough.
Yeah, Manny Machado is
Yeah.
the least clutch player in baseball.
Yeah.
All right. And my goodness, not only that, it was like he got a pitch that he knew he could flick into left field for a single to tie like he knew that's what he could do with that pitch. And, to come up with the tying hit, 2 outs in the ninth, you're getting shut out. Doesn't get any more, better than that, more clutch than that. And so, and there was other reasons why they won last night, Tony, but none of them would have held weight if he didn't do what he did.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yesterday was our last night from a hit standpoint was encouraging. They swung the bats better.
Finally.
They did. They swung the bats well. And listen, I give both starters for the Giants a lot of credit, aside from our guys who were phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah.
But both of those guys in Roop and Webb had not had a lot of success against the Padres in recent starts. Padres had hit them well. And what each of them did was interesting. They in both cases, and this is probably oversimplifying it, they took their third best pitch and used it way more than they had been. For Roop, it was the changeup.
By the way, thank you for bringing this up. I want to interrupt. How many times did I scream at the TV last night? Look out for the changeup. It seemed like it was coming every time, but you're right, Tony. They weren't expecting it when in the scouting report.
Roop is heavy curveball sinker.
Right.
Webb is heavy sinker change. In Webb's case, he was using that backdoor sweeper almost the entire game. And so they did what they were supposed to do. And yet and still the Padres found a way to beat up that pen. The other thing I want to point out, and I brought this up on air. They definitely chased game one. Suarez throwing 2 innings is 100% a sign of them chasing a win in June, right? And they got it. The consequence of that was that you didn't have Adam. You didn't have Suarez for that. Estrada came in, but I mean, I'm sure he's going to be down today after getting that one yesterday. And I only bring it up because, you know, we've seen it not work out that following day, like it did yesterday for the Padres, and people have questions into, well, why couldn't we use such and such, or why isn't? That's why they chased that win on Monday. They got it, great. But they had to go to some arms. But this is also why you are trying to get guys like Morgan more opportunities. Some of these guys who don't pitch in the role. My man Sean Reynolds, my Lord. Yeah. Marbles.
He's got stuff.
I'll just say that.
He's
Marbles.
got stuff.
3 innings he went out and just, I mean, that was a phenomenal performance. That got them Yuki pitching in the 9th.
Right.
In that spot, like
picking up a win. That a boy, Yuki.
That's what good teams do, right? They didn't have their best guys. They found a way to win another game against a divisional foe.
Let's take a look at it. Tony, you're 100%. Frank texted us this or tweeted me, I think you, but Padres are the first team in 25 years to win back-to-back games on the road where they didn't score for the first 8 innings of the game. So what's happened the last 2 nights? Doesn't happen very often. Got to go back to the 2001 Diamondbacks, last team to do that.
World Series champions.
They won the World Series. I hope that's a good sign. That's number 1. Number 2, their last 8 victories for the Padres, 5 of them by 1 run, the other 3 by 2 runs. So they've been scraping by, and as you said, finding a way, night in, night out, different heroes. And this is, again, maybe people who want to be down on the Padres don't want to hear it, but this is what good teams do. They find a way. You don't always bludgeon your opponent. I know it seems that way when you're having a good season. You just beat everybody by, 7-1. That's not how baseball is. These games are good. They're close. And you got to find a way to win more than you lose. Padres have 13 one-run victories. That's the most in baseball. Or second most. And then the other thing, of the 8 games that they've won here, 6 of the wins have gone to guys in the bullpen. Morejon has 2 wins in this stretch. Estrada has 1. Suarez, Matsui, and Adam have 1 each. That's a lot of different guys that are coming through for you, and that's what you're kind of trying to point out. It's a team game. It always has been.
You just have to be able at some point for most teams, either your guys ain't going to be at their best, someone's going to be hurt, and in those moments, someone else has to step up. And last night, Bergert stepped up.
He really did. Let's give a shout out to him for sure. In his first
big time start for him. Sean Reynolds stepped up big time. Yuki Matsui stepped up big time. Estrada, who I feel like has thrown literally every game this last 8 days, stepped up. And so that's what it's about. Michael King goes down and he's missing starts. Someone's had to step in for him, and they've done a terrific job. Whether we talking Kolick or Vasquez having to step in for Yu Darvish, they've done that. And so this only builds your team, because when you do get healthy, and those guys aren't necessarily in that same role, you can lean on them if you have to later on. And so you let these guys cut their teeth, man, in some big spots and some hostile areas like this place here. Padres have looked good. Now they got 2 more games to do. They got Pivetta going today. You feel pretty good about Nick towing the rubber for sure.
Yeah. Well, look, Manny was incredible. I mean, you don't even have to know baseball, right? 4 for 4, game-winning or game-tying hit. But let's give Jake a lot of credit for a huge hit as well, because
for sure,
you know the same thing I know, Tony. If you score in the top of the 10th, you put the pressure on their
100%.
at-bats.
100%.
If you don't score in the top of the 10th,
free money.
They all come up swinging nice and free in the bottom of the 10th. So he needed a hit there. That was the only way, right? 2 outs,
Yep.
runners at third. He's got to get a hit. And he sacrificed a piece of lumber, but he got it.
Died
and
a
that
soldier.
was, so great for Jake. He has not had those kind of moments. I not as many as maybe he would want, but that was a big one last night too. So let's not forget about that. And look, the Padres were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position when Manny got the hit. So, the old RISP thing, is there, but they stuck with it, kept on battling. And yeah, you're right. I didn't know Sean Reynolds went 3 full innings.
3 of them.
He made it so fast I didn't even realize. One walk. That's it.
That's such a. I just can't express how big of a deal that is. Like, those are innings that he typically is thrown to 1 inning. I think he's through 2 in the spot start that he had.
Yeah, somebody tell Goose Gossage that a reliever pitched 3 innings. He'd be so excited.
He would be.
Yeah,
he would be. But that was a good win. That was definitely a good win for the Padres.
And I also wanted one last guy to give a little tip to the cap to in the 9th inning is Luis Arraez. Well, Fernando also, because look, Fernando. I don't know what you thought on the wild pitch. Where he got stuck at first base, and they showed the overhead view, so you could see when the ball got away, his momentum was actually going back to first base, and that's why he couldn't, get recharged to get to second. So that happened, but then he made up for it, right? He just goes and steals second. So I got no complaints. But Luis Arraez, who's one of the best hitters in baseball, 3 straight batting titles, does not expand the zone, does not get himself out, takes the walk, and passes it to Manny. That's hard to do. A lot of guys wouldn't do it.
Yeah, he definitely did it, for sure.
It's all part of the teamwork. All right, very good. We're underway. We got Chase Budinger. Going to switch sports here. The old NBA star, La Costa Canyon, played in the NBA for many years, a local product. He's got he's a great volleyball player. I think everybody knows about that. Chase Budinger is going to jump in and join us here, scheduled to do so anyway in the next segment. So we're looking forward to catching up with him. Sit back, relax, enjoy a round of Gwynn and Chris today on 97.3 The Fan.
Mr. Matt Scraby, how is Matt doing? Is he
We
doing all right?
we see him, but we kick him right out of the studio when we get here. So we don't spend any extra time with him. But no, he's doing well, filling in for Braden. And I know that he's upset that he's not with us now, Tony, because he would be excited to be interviewing a fellow La Costa Canyon graduate now.
No doubt. A very fun guest joining us now. Chase Budinger joins us. And as Chris mentioned, former La Costa Canyon basketball standout. That's not why he's here today, though. He's here to talk a little bit about volleyball. But, Chase, thank you for your time, man. How are you?
Hello.
Yeah, we got you.
Chase, can you hear us?
All right. Yes, I can hear you. I got you.
Okay.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Yeah, no complaints over here.
So I know you're here to talk a little bit about the AVP League that's coming to San Diego, but I think most people in San Diego have known you for your work on the hardwood. Just talk a little bit about what the transition has been like going from playing basketball to playing volleyball. How did this come about? Were you always into volleyball as well?
Yeah, I mean, for people that knew me in San Diego, I grew up playing both sports. I grew up playing both sports at a very high level. Some would say I was probably a better volleyball player than I was a basketball player. Okay. And the plan was to always try to play beach volleyball when my career was done with basketball, as long as my body would handle it. And when I made the switch to beach volleyball, I said, hey, why not go fully dive into it and see how well I could do and try to make the Olympics.
Yeah, Chase, it's been a great little run here in the beach volleyball world. Talk about what you've accomplished in beach volleyball and what you still hope to accomplish. And we definitely want to, tell everybody that if you want to see Chase and the best beach volleyball players in the world, I mean, they're all coming here to San Diego. They're going to be at Viejas Arena this Saturday and Sunday. It's the only time the AVP Tour visits San Diego this year. It's
actually Friday night and Saturday night.
I beg your pardon. Yes, you're right. June 6th and 7th, but I got the wrong night. Sorry. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, everybody. Yes, thank you, Chase. But talk about what you've accomplished and what you hope to still accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, for me, making my first Olympics last year in 2024, making the Paris Olympics was a dream come true. It was a goal I set out when I switched to beach volleyball, and it was such an amazing experience. I got to play underneath the Eiffel Tower. It was such an iconic venue that we had.
Yeah,
and
it was a
those are
great
memories that I'll
venue.
never forget. And it's pretty awesome because all the other Olympians, when I talk with them, they all were so jealous that we got the best venue. And they're all coming out to being like, oh, we got to come check out a game because your guys' venue is so awesome. But it was such a really cool experience. And then, because of that, I just kind of got that itch of wanting to get back there. And now my next goal is to try to make this next Olympics, especially it being here at home.
Chase Budinger joins us, and Chase, the AVP League is kind of a new concept. This started last year, and it's been extremely well received. What makes the AVP League a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from beach volleyball?
Well, one is we're mostly in indoor venues, like this upcoming weekend is we're in Viejas Arena. And they bring in the sand, they bring in everything, and the games that we play are very fast paced. They're much shorter games to 15, much more high power. You've got to start off strong right off the bat. So it just makes the game just a lot more exciting compared to some beach volleyball tournaments, kind of are long and strung out. But these games are just fast, high paced, high powered. And you get the best of everything because you have the best athletes and the best players playing.
Chase Budinger is with us. And again, I want to make sure I confirm with everybody out there Friday and Saturday at Viejas Arena with the volleyball. And Chase, I'm reading here, they said they're going to bring in approximately 300 tons of sand, truck that into Viejas Arena. Are you allowed, or do you know, are they just allowed to go out to like Mission Beach and take 300 tons of sand, or how do they work that?
I think, I think I'm not really sure of exactly where they get the sand, but I think they have a special spot where they actually import the sand from, because all the venues, the sand all feels the same. So I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you think it's similar sand? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you guys do this? I mean, there's certain sports that amaze me and certain things I can understand. Like, I don't understand how these guys hit a golf ball sometimes the way they do. I don't understand how two guys running around in sand where nobody can run. If anybody's ever tried to run in sand, you can't go anywhere. Not only do you run around, you jump, flying high into the air. You have to be able to dig. You have to be able to set. You have to be able to kill. You have to have all aspects of the game. And the kind of shape you have to be in to play the sport has to be incredible. So talk a little bit about some of the athleticism of beach volleyball that maybe we are appreciating, but we don't really understand exactly what we're appreciating.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point. I think one, you do have to be in great shape because moving around in the sand is exhausting. And then two, your body adapts to it. So you have to really practice. You have to get out there and play and just keep working, because what happens is your body kind of adapts to the sand more than it would for a hardwood or anything else. And that becomes your new norm. But, it is quite interesting because when you do watch us play, we make it look so effortlessly and make it look so easy. But when you try to do it, or a normal person tries to do it on their own, they realize really quick, man, this is a really tough sport.
Yeah, no doubt. For anybody who's tried to train in sand, you get the gist of what Chase is talking about. Chase, my question for you is the wear and tear. I mean, you played a lot of basketball in your lifetime. Now you are moving to the beach volleyball. Is the wear and tear, is your body able to kind of endure this despite kind of going through what you have playing in the NBA? It just seems like both sports can wear the body down a little bit. What's the recovery, I guess I should ask, compared from basketball to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I really think that being in the sand has helped my body kind of heal. Towards the end of my career, my basketball career, I was having a lot of injuries, big injuries, small injuries, reoccurring injuries, especially with all my joints. And when I made the transition, the sand actually kind of helped strengthen those joints. And I really haven't had any problems since. And I really give a lot of thanks and praise to just being in the sand and training in the sand. It's really helped the body a lot and made me feel young again.
Speaking of feeling young, and Chase, we appreciate the time. I don't want to hold you too much longer here, but the fact that you have now been retired from the NBA for 9 years is making all of us feel older. We're not feeling younger. We're feeling older.
Yeah,
it seems like just yesterday you were, It seems like just yesterday you were drafted. Real quick, what do you think of the style of the NBA? Do you still watch a lot of NBA? It seems like they're very reliant on the 3-point shot now, more so probably than when you played. And what are your thoughts, real quick?
I love the NBA. I watch it religiously. Especially playoff basketball is one of my favorite times of year. And yeah, the game's changed a lot. I wish I was coming out of college now, because I feel like the game suits me more now than when I came out.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game to watch. And it was funny this morning when I was talking with my coach and my other teammate about the finals, was because I played for Indiana and the Pacers. They asked me if I was rooting for them. And I was like, well, there's one cool fact is there's one player on that team that I played with is still on that team, and which is Miles Turner, who's been on that team for 10 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
So at least I still have that.
Chase Budinger, you can catch him as well as the AVP League at Viejas Arena at San Diego State this Friday and Saturday, June 6th and 7th. Tickets start at just $39. You can purchase it at avp.com/ticket. Chase, we so appreciate your time coming. Good luck in your endeavors moving forward in terms of the next Olympics as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Nice catching up with you, Chase.
No problem. Chase Budinger, now a pro beach volleyball player. I mean, it's not often.
How about that?
I don't know too many cats who have changed professional sports.
No, I mean, how many guys
been able to pull it off successfully?
Yeah, it's got to be a short list, Tony, of people who played in the NBA for 10 years and then went and played in the Olympics in a different sport. I can't imagine there's more than a handful of guys. And now, look, how many guys can say they played 9 years in the NBA, averaged 8 points a game, were a top first-round draft choice, and now being almost more successful in another sport? It's, he's had quite a career. I mean, he says he's 37, so I guess that's old for athletes maybe, but
it definitely is.
It's not old to me. I'm impressed, and it's great catching up with him. That's the first time I think I've ever had a chance to talk to him. So
I know it's the first time I've ever caught up to him. That was he's an impressive young man. He doesn't think of himself as young man, but he's still I wish I could be 37 still. What was I going to tell you?
I don't know.
I forgot now.
Well, you have an event coming up that we have to talk about when we come back.
I do. I will talk about that on the other side, because we got to get to break. So,
all right.
More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
important event coming up, and I definitely want to get there and give him a chance to tell you all about that, so you can make notes and make sure that you get involved. Just a couple of quick things before we get to it, Tony. My age, I played like a round of golf yesterday in the rain. I went for a walk this morning, and I have aches and pains from head to toe, right? And then we were just talking to Chase Budinger, who thinks he's old. He's 37, but this is a guy that, played 10 years in the NBA and now is doing beach volleyball at the highest level. And now I'm looking up at the TV screen. There's a guy that's exactly 1 year older than Chase Budinger. Same birthday, ironically, but 38 years old. And that's Novak Djokovic, who's now going into the fourth hour of his match against Alexander Zverev at the French Open. And Djokovic is a couple of games away from potentially winning this and going into the semifinals. I don't know that you talk about incredibly conditioned athletes. How about a tennis player running around on clay, which
For sure.
It can't be easy just in general. At his age, 38, and beating the best players in the world as he continues to do. He is really one of the most impressive athletes out there, whether you like him or not, because he's a bit polarizing, but you've got to consider him an amazing athlete, one of the best we've ever seen. I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all those dudes are incredible. I mean, just think, what's my man for Washington hockey team?
Yeah, that's right, Ovechkin. He's out there playing
is
NHL
like
at
50.
40.
Like,
yeah, he's 50. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, like, you got to be in incredible shape to do those type of things. So
right, we don't appreciate it enough. I didn't
No,
share
we
this
don't.
with you the other day because you weren't here, but they had an interview with Djokovic from the French Open a couple of days ago, and he was talking a lot about a guy that you admired as much as any athlete in the history. He was close friends, believe it or not, with Kobe Bryant.
I did know that.
Oh, you did know that.
I
So
did.
you were aware of that.
I was.
Yeah, I did not know, but it makes sense because
Yeah.
athletes of that ability can only understand each other sometimes.
Yeah, they both had a penchant for being not so nice.
Well, I don't know about that, but
No, I'm saying that on the court,
right,
like,
on your court, they'd rip your heart out for sure.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, they would destroy you and have not think twice about it, and then tell you about it afterwards if they had to.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah, I kind of knew that they were close for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, Djokovic and the French Open, a couple of games away there. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Tonight, the Stanley Cup Finals get underway as well. Edmonton and Florida will play north of the border. But Tony, talk a little bit about what you've got coming up here, because it's much more important than just any old game.
Yeah, no. So after you go check out Chase on Friday and Saturday, on Sunday, if you want to get out and walk for a good cause, the Lung Force Walk takes place on Sunday, June 8th. It's at Liberty Station. Now, this is being put on by the American Lung Association. I'm on the board in San Diego. I've been on it for about 5 years now. And it's the only lung health walk on the West Coast. So, get out there. Any donations will help with lung cancer and lung disease research and prevent the next generation from dealing with some of the new stuff that's out there, like those nicotine patches or those nicotine pouches.
Knowledge is important here.
Yeah,
I don't think that they promote that stuff properly, and honestly, they should be held accountable for it. Honestly, the tobacco companies. Yeah, I don't know that they have so much money to give to politicians and whoever runs this country, so they are able to control the narrative. But the bottom line is they give you these patches, they give you this other stuff, and they say it's instead of cigarette, but they don't tell you it's just as dangerous.
They
as
insinuate
cigarettes.
that it's a healthier form or a better for you form.
Exactly.
For sure. So any donations that, if you decide to go that route, will go to those type of causes in terms of lung cancer, the research and, kind of the prevention of the youth from getting addicted as some of our earlier generations. Real quick, lung cancer is one of the leading cancers, is not one of this, the leading cancer death in California and across the U.S. In terms of screening, why it's important to get screened for lung cancer. It's one of the lowest survival rates compared to the other major cancers. Early detection and treatment of lung cancer translates into higher survival rates. And most of the time, people find it when it's already too late. So get screened. How do you protect yourself from lung cancer? Pretty simple. Don't smoke and stay away from secondhand smoke. Those are the two easiest ways to keep yourself out of that danger zone.
But it is interesting. You bringing up the most important part of the whole thing you're bringing up. And I remember when Mike Haynes came in here to talk about prostate cancer, the former NFL guy. And all he kept telling everybody, don't forget, get screened, because if they catch these things, they can fix these things now. So don't leave yourself open to not having a chance, to being able to overcome this stuff.
That's a great point. Give yourself a chance by getting screened. Again, Lung Force Walk on Sunday, June 8th. You can get more information at lungforce.org/San Diego.
All right. Padres and Giants again tonight as Pivetta goes to the Hill. And Padres try to make it 3 in a row, which would be nice. 4-0 against the Gigantes now this year. And you got to get greedy now. You got the first 2. You don't want to ease up and, get out of there with a split. You definitely want this series.
Not even
moving
a little
forward, right?
Yeah, not even a little bit. You don't want to let up at all. You want to get this third one and set yourself up for a chance for a 4-game sweep, which is a rare thing. 4-game sweeps just don't happen very often. So
unless you're the Rockies, because the Rockies just finished up a 3-game sweep of Florida. The only reason it was, or Miami, the only reason it wasn't 4 is because there's only 3 games in the series. But I touched on it earlier. The Marlins have bigger problems than just losing 3 games to the Rockies. I think baseball has a problem, and I don't know what they can do about it, but I think they should try to do something about it. And that is, finding a way for the Marlins to market themselves to where they can get some people to come see the games.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't do anything.
Let the owners lose a ton of money.
The Marlins should get their stuff together.
Okay.
I mean, listen, they fired Kim Ng right after they got to the playoffs. They basically ran Skip Schumacher up out of there because he was like, oh, no, I see where this is going. Let me get up out of here. And every time they've had good players, they have, done with what bad teams do, moving them on and, had these rebuild. What part of the rebuild are they in now?
I don't know where they are.
This is what, third edition of this, 4th edition?
Is it possible that the Marlins winning 2 World Series is the biggest upset in the history of sports?
No, I don't think so, because they built up to those. You know what I'm saying? Like, they went out and they traded for Gary Sheffield. He was there for a year before they went out and added the other pieces. They got a young Edgar Renteria at that point come up. They had a young and then the next time around they had a young Miguel Cabrera coming up. So
they stole him.
They
stole him, but they had him, and they added Pudge to that.
Right. They added Pudge. They had Dontrell. They had Juan Pierre, who came over from the Rockies at that point. I mean, there was just they earned those because they made good teams. They just didn't hang on to them longer than a year.
It's incredible. I mean, 1997, 2003, Marlins World Series champions.
That's only 6 years apart, too, buddy.
I know, but now it's been 23 years. I don't think they're holding up the cachet any longer.
They're not.
But maybe, well, okay, maybe I should say this differently. Instead of the Marlins working on getting their attendance, maybe the Rockies fans who watch these games from Denver, if any of them did, maybe they ought to get the idea to not go to games the same way. Yeah, maybe that's the answer there. So
I do think when the young kid Fernandez passed away in that boat accident,
that was a big deal.
That kind of changed the course of the Marlins. situation.
agree.
They
Those
were
things get tough.
ascending. They were going to be
Those are tough
one of
things.
those teams, and not too long after that, Carlos traded. I mean, that team is completely different. So yeah, I think that has had a part, unlike the Rockies, who are just not doing anything different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, and I want to remind the Rockies did finish off the sweep today of the Marlins, so they won.
Has
3
that
in a row.
moved them back on pace to be ahead of the White Sox, or are they still
Not
behind?
even close. That's what I wanted to bring up. Now with them winning 3 in a row, they're only on pace to lose 131 games, as opposed to like 140 before the sweep. So the White Sox only lost 121. So the Rockies are still 10 games behind the White Sox pace, which shows you how low they were to begin with.
Yeah.
Kind of a potpourri segment here. Later on, of course, we have our Big Five. And we also have a segment later on which is going to go a little kind of dive into the baseball trade deadline and take a look, not at some of the players you're thinking about out there necessarily, because we all know the bad teams are going to be offering up talent at the trade deadline. But what about the teams that are kind of in the middle? We'll discuss those a little bit later in the program as well. Tony, I want to get your thoughts because I'm not going to get to talk to you tomorrow. NBA Finals start tomorrow night. This is not surprising, but ESPN put out its predictions, and they have 15 experts who have picked the outcome of the NBA Finals on ESPN.com. 14 of the experts pick the Thunder, and 8 of those 14 pick them to win in 5 games. Like, not even a close series. You and I have been talking about this, but I don't think either you or I think this is going to be as easy as everyone else thinks.
And I can't tell if I'm like picking like with my heart right now.
Yeah, right.
Is that
Maybe,
why I'm not?
I know.
Is that why I'm not seeing it like everybody else is? And I very well could be doing that, but I just think at this point, and maybe it's because I've been doubting Halliburton like this entire playoff run. Maybe he's just made me a believer now at this point, that I think he's good enough to cause this OKC team some issues. I could be wrong, though. I just feel like this is going to be closer than what people are saying it's going to be.
I think the notion that the Oklahoma City Thunder is already, being tabbed as one of the great NBA franchises and dynasties in history, which is what, Windhorse would have you believe, and many, many others, it's just not even fair. Like, they haven't won anything yet. They did go to 7 games against Denver, so that wasn't exactly a piece of cake. They certainly should be favored to win the finals. They won 68 games this year. Not many teams do that. And they've also won.
Certainly not saying they shouldn't be favored, but
right, they should be favored. But let me understand, Cleveland was heavily favored over Indiana, and I think the Knicks were favored over Indiana, and those didn't turn out too good. So
no, they did not.
And you got a championship coach in Indiana too. Rick Carlisle won a title in Dallas. Doesn't guarantee him another one, but he knows what it takes to get there.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah, for sure.
So I think it's going to be a really good series. I hope it's a good series, because if it's not, I'm going to look like a dummy. And because I said, Oklahoma City's not that great, but I expect Indiana to really give them a good run.
I do too.
Tomorrow night starting.
I think this can be a 7-game series.
The biggest, according to the spread or the odds, whatever, this is like the 3rd or 4th biggest lopsided in NBA history, which is, I think, crazy. Did you see the one that was the most lopsided?
Wasn't it the Lakers in 76ers?
Yes, the year that Iverson came into the Forum and stole game 1.
Yeah,
right.
he did.
But then they didn't win anymore. So
no, they did.
The odds makers were correct on that one, but I'll never forget that game. That was a hell of a game by Iverson. Maybe his greatest moment. And it came in a series they ended up losing because the Lakers were just way too good for them at that point. But yeah, I don't see that big of a disparity between these teams. So
yeah,
that'll all start tomorrow night. We got a couple of minutes left here. And I want to get into the the baseball, well, first of all, the Giants, if you didn't, I'm sure you've heard this, Tony, you're up there. They designated their first baseman, Lamont Wade, for assignment today.
Yeah, they brought in Dominic Smith.
Right, the old left-handed hitter, Dominic Smith, is coming in. Now, the Giants do have apparently a young guy coming. They're putting him from double A to triple A, and his name escapes me right now, but I saw it online today. So they may have something for first base, but right now that's Casey Schmidt, and I guess now it's Dominic Smith, since they parted with Lamont Wade. What happens actually when you're DFA'd? Are you gone, Tony, or do you have any option? Is there anything left for you?
You're probably in the city somewhere, unless you live close. So San Francisco Lamont may be from Cali, so he could just kind of drive home, fly home real fast, and spend the next 72 hours as he waits to pass through waivers.
Oh, so he waits to see if somebody can claim him.
Right. He'll be in regular clothes for the next couple of days.
I just think it's baseball is a mean game, man. We talk about the top guys all the time, and the Mannies and the Fernandos, but the rank and file of baseball, of which you know something about. This guy had a really good year last year for San Francisco, and was being counted on to have another really good year this year. And you know what? He struggled, and now he's not even on the team.
It's not for the week. That's for sure.
Yeah,
it's funny. I was just having this conversation at the gym this morning when playing some hoop, and the stress level that you have to perform every day is heavy. It really is. I don't think most of the guys even realize it until they get out of it, and then you look back and it's like, man, the anxiety, all of that, that you get in the box, and I don't get me wrong, I miss that, but there's a lot that comes with it. And so when you get designated, I mean, you got a whole bunch of things rolling through your head. Will somebody pick me up? Is this it? Am I done? Things of those nature, because it's completely out of your hand. It's really up, and it may not have anything to do with your ability. It may have to do with, a roster that's, they don't have any space at that time, so.
Man. Yeah,
it's a lot for sure.
And as we've discussed many times, if you go into the batter's box trying too hard because you just have to do something today, you're in a slump, or you're worried, you're hearing your name on the rumor mill or something. That's the last time you're going to be able to get a hit,
right? But
so you have to clear your head, even when that's the most impossible thing to do.
Exactly. That's the best way to explain it, right? You got those same worries. You're struggling, and so how do you tell yourself, all right, man, let's take it easy, man?
Yeah, right.
It just doesn't.
It really doesn't matter if I get a hit today. It's not going to matter,
right?
Yeah.
If you are that person that can lie to yourself and can actually convince yourself of it, you're ahead of the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. By the way, everybody's new left fielder for the Padres, Taylor Ward, hit another homer today, a 3-run shot.
Speaking of that, did you guys see that little issue happen before the game today? Angels, Boston?
No, what happened?
Tyler Anderson and one of the coaches on the Boston Red Sox are nose to nose, having a confrontation. Angels pitching coach comes in, he's in it, he gets into a confrontation. It's all over the internet. I'm sure you guys can find it.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think, of course, Alex Cora, the calming factor in almost all of Boston's drama, is out in the outfield with his, looks like a green tea, chai, whatever he has in his hand, and is having the conversation with Tyler Anderson. It looked like they kind of squashed it, whatever was going on, but it got serious. I mean, he had some nose to nose action there, player and coach.
I missed that. I hate to tell you, I don't have to be involved in any of them, but as a fan, I miss a little hatred out there.
Yeah, they definitely there was some hatred for sure. At least it looked like it.
It's not bad. The game ended up on a home run by Ceddanne Rafaela of Boston, which they know stats for everything now. A curled around pesky pole in right field, estimated at a 308-foot home run, the shortest walk-off home run ever recorded. since they started recording stuff like this. So there you go. Information you probably don't need, but you have it anyway. All right,
Thank
Tony,
you.
have a great broadcast tonight.
Thank you,
And
sir.
we'll catch up to you, I think, Friday in Milwaukee. So get yourself a couple more wins, and we'll take it from there.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you.
All right, everybody, back with Daily Gambit when Gwynn and Chris return. Alexander Zverev, and the quarterfinals of the French Open. On to the semis now for Djokovic, who's trying to win his 25th Grand Slam championship. That'd be 5 more than any other player in history. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. 3:01 is the time. Chris Ello. Tony Gwynn Jr. Tony is off getting ready, but we'll hear more from him later in the program. Frank Marchese, Big Frank, is alongside here in the Odyssey Palace studios on June the 4th, 2025. Never mind the 2025 part, but the June 4th part. Did you know out there? I did not. Frank was the one who alerted me to this. Did you know that June 4th has to go down as one of the greatest dates in San Diego Padre history? I don't think there's any question about it. June 4th, 9 years ago today, was the day that the San Diego Padres parted with starting pitcher James Shields. Oh, yeah. Back in return from the White Sox came Fernando Tatis Jr. They also got right-handed pitcher Eric Johnson. Don't know if we all remember him too well. But
heard Eric Johnson was the key piece in that trade, too.
yes, right. He might have been. Who knows? Anyway, Fernando was acquired officially 9 years ago today. And one other anniversary today. You got to be old school to remember this. June 4th, 1974. I can't believe this is over 50 years ago now, Frank. The Cleveland Indians, and yes, they were called the Indians then, hosted the Texas Rangers at Cleveland Stadium. And the promotion that evening was 10-cent beer night. Yes, that's right. 10 cents for a beer. There was 2 things that went wrong here. One, a lot of beer was drunk by the people in Cleveland.
You think?
2, they were playing the Rangers, who just a week earlier had gotten into a bench-clearing brawl with the Indians in Texas. So the fans remembered.
That's called timing, is what that is.
Yes, the timing was not good. And so it went that there's a little retaliation when the Rangers came back. It was 10-cent beer night. Billy Martin was the manager of the Rangers, by the way, at the time, and he's about as...
So he's known for being a very docile creature.
Not at all, right? So anyway, this is one of the only games I remember. Not millions, but hundreds and hundreds of fans came out on the field, tore up the field. Chaos ensued, and the game was forfeited to the Rangers. Only 9 fans were arrested, probably because they couldn't find or couldn't grab the rest of them. The stadium was damaged. Bases were stolen. It was quite the evening.
Now that leads
that
to
was 50 years ago, 51 years ago.
That leads to another question. Which one do you think was the bigger disaster? 10-cent beer night or disco night?
Disco demolition night,
yes.
Which was the same era. A little later.
It was the White Sox and
Disco demolition
I don't
night.
remember. I think it was the White Sox that put
I don't
that
remember.
on.
It doesn't really matter. It was. I don't think they ever. It was a double header.
Yes.
Disco demolition
that
night.
didn't help either.
And what they did is that there was a local DJ in Chicago who was on one of the rock stations there in 1979, and that's when disco became very popular in our country. And this DJ had a promotion to go out to the game, and they were going to blow up all the disco records out in the outfield, and so they did. And fans rushed the field, and that was the complete disaster. The opponent was the Tigers, but neither here nor there. I think the disco night was kind of funny. I don't think they could have predicted what happened there. 10-cent beer night, somebody should have had a hankering.
That was predicted.
Yeah,
that was
somebody should have had a hankering for that. By the way, one last thing on 10-cent beer night. That was in 1974, Frank. What if you had the same promotion this year?
Oh, boy.
At Petco Park. And let's not encourage the Padres to do this.
No, please, love it all.
Right.
Don't.
But if there is another one of these somewhere, how much money would you have to charge for the beer for it to be equivalent to the 10-cent beer that was charged in 1974? That's a tough one. I don't know. Expect anybody to know, but I'll tell you.
167.
No, not even quite. 65 cents would be the
really
equivalent.
wow
Quarter. Yes, a quarter. Oh, wait a minute. No. Let me see. Yes, a promotion was meant to improve attendance, offering cups of beer for 10 cents, which is equivalent to 64 cents in 2024.
Oh, last year. Okay. So it wouldn't be too far off.
Not much farther off of that. So, all right.
As Brock in the chat said, that would be a disaster. Yes, it would be.
Oh, yes. I don't believe believe anybody's thinking about it, doing it again.
Unmitigated disaster.
Unmitigated.
$2 beer night for the Gulls is
already enough.
Yeah, that's already good
You're already
enough.
risking it with that. Yeah. Let's remind the Gulls people of that. Be careful out there. All right. We have our
Daily
not
Gambit.
Christopher the Fans. Yes, Daily Gambit. Funny, we do it every day at this time.
Christopher the Fans is next hour.
Yeah. So let's open with that. We may stretch this across because I have something to say about the picks that we had last night.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you wait till you hear this coming up, Frank.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit. We have some fun making some picks, and you're welcome to pick alongside. We invite you, if you have to gamble on this stuff, do so responsibly. Or better yet, don't gamble on it. Nothing good's going to come of it.
Yeah, we'll go over that a little bit later in the Big Five.
Yes, we can see how this can get out of control. Come on. The gambling is way out of control in sports, but no one's doing anything about it. Just people like us are complaining about it. But last night, Frank, last night into today, because we had a couple of picks this morning.
Did we go 0 for yesterday? Is that what you're going to say?
No, you went nice, 5-3. Good day for you.
All right.
In fact, your overall record for the week is quite good, 11-4, Frank. You might actually win some money if that were the case. But stop the presses. Yesterday and this morning, I went, and this is almost impossible. I went 8-0. 8-0.
Wow.
I wish, yeah. And again, you could say, well, you should have bet on it. Yes, I know. But that wouldn't make up for all the nights that I go 2-6. Right? Just last night happened to be the night.
That's a day after Tony and I just about
you guys
went
almost undefeated. The last two were the tennis today. Coco Gauff won a really exciting match over Madison Keys at the French Open. We both took Gauff. She pulled away to win the third set, 6-1. And then we just told you Djokovic just recently or moments ago, polished off Zverev. We both took Djokovic there. And then the rest of the bets I was able to hit. So for the week, you're 11-4. I'm 10-5, which makes it sound like we kind of know what we're doing. We told you that the NBA odds are stacked against Indiana. The official odds are Oklahoma City is -700, which means it's not a lot of people get all that stuff. If you bet $700,
you win 100
on Oklahoma
right?
City, and they win the series, you get 100. Well, you get 800. You get your 700 back plus 100. So that's, to me, seems silly almost, right? Why would you even think of doing that? Unless you're going to bet 70,000 to win 10,000. But who has that kind of money lying around? If you have that kind of money, do you really need another 10,000?
No.
That's the way I look at that. Seems silly to me. Indiana's plus 500. So you bet 100 them, you win 500. Now you notice how there's a discrepancy there?
A little bit.
Yeah. Oklahoma City 700, Indiana 500. That's so if the betting is equal, which is what they want, then no matter who wins, the bookies win. That's how they do that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, yes, that's how it works. And all of you people out there who think that you win all the time, understand that they are building casinos daily in Las Vegas on your losses.
Very true.
The NHL Stanley Cup Finals, if you're wondering there, Edmonton is a slight favorite over the defending champion Florida Panthers. Edmonton minus 120. Florida's even. So if you bet 100, you win 100 on Florida. I think Edmonton can beat them, but I think it's in a lot of ways maybe wishful thinking because a lot of people really want to see Canada get the Stanley Cup again. I know they're probably, some people who could care less, but understand that the entire world revolves around hockey there, most of it.
Yes.
And they haven't had a Stanley Cup winner there since 1993. Been over 30 years.
Montreal, wasn't it?
Montreal won it in 93. So Edmonton is playing for the whole homeland, as it were. But Florida's awfully good.
They are.
Beat them last year, and, we're looking to repeat. So that gets underway tonight. We'll do our picks after the break because we have to take a quick time out here to check a little traffic. We'll pick stuff for tonight.
We have our Stanley Cup picks in the Big Five, actually.
We have our picks for the Stanley Cup, but the rest of our
NBA
Daily Gambit picks.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, the rest of our Daily Gambit picks are coming up shortly. So, I was 8-0 yesterday, so you might want to pay attention. Who knows? Next on Gwynn and Chris.
Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury. Here's
Padres and Giants tonight. Giants lineup is out, unless you have a Padre lineup somewhere that I don't know, Frank. I don't have the Padre lineup quite yet.
I haven't looked, if I'm honest.
That's fine. Giants do have two names in the lineup tonight that you may not recognize right off the bat. One is right fielder Daniel Johnson. He was called up today from Sacramento. But Daniel Johnson's actually been around for a while. He's 29 years old, played in the big leagues, actually had one at bat last year with Baltimore, hit 4 home runs with Cleveland in 2022. This year, Daniel Johnson splitting time between Sacramento and Durango of the Mexican League. So look out for Daniel Johnson tonight. He'll be in the Giants lineup in right field. They also have Dominic Smith playing first base tonight. Now, Dominic Smith is a veteran who the Giants just picked up today. But he has not been playing yet this season. Last stop for Dominic Johnson was last year with Boston and Cincinnati. He hit 6 home runs in 93 games. So a couple of Giants that are in the lineup tonight. San Francisco's looking for offense, big time. They haven't scored more than 4 runs in a game now. It's 17 straight, I think. It's something like that.
Yeah, something right around there.
So let's keep them scuffling. Padre lineup when we get it. All right, here we go with some picks tonight. What do you got, Frank? Giants, Padres, 7 runs, over-under tonight. Under has been the way to go in the first 2 games of this series. Yeah, what do you think of tonight?
I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to
go under again.
Yeah, especially with Nick Pivetta on the mound tonight.
Kyle
I'm
Harrison, lefty for the Gigantes.
You got lefty tomorrow as well, so that's
right. Maybe we'll see Luis Campusano in the lineup tonight. I don't know.
Possibility.
We'll see. We haven't got the lineup, as I said. Under seems the way to go because they can't score, neither team, but somehow, some way, they got to go over once. Like 5-3, is that possible? I'll go over. Dodgers 1.5 runs over your Mets.
Take the Mets.
Should have won last night, I thought. Did not. And, they had a similar situation as the Padres last night. The Mets had used their closers.
Yep.
So they had to go with Braziban as the closer, and Max Muncy homered off him to tie the game in the 9th inning. And then the Dodgers won the game in the 10th inning because, your friend, Brandon Nimmo, turned every which way on a fly ball. And then, the thing that gets me is Freddie Freeman's like the hero. It was a fly out to left field. The guy just didn't catch the ball. Please.
It's interesting, too, because Braziban's been actually pretty good this year for the Mets.
Max Muncy has not been good this year, but he's been hot lately. He has 6 homers in the last 9 games.
It's a whole lot of uniqueness happening in one spot there.
Right. I got to go with the Mets tonight. They need to win that series.
I'm going the Mets as well.
And remember, if the Mets win and the Padres win, the Padres would be in first place. Could have been the case this morning. 10 runs for that game. That's a lot. You're going to go over under 10 runs for the Mets-Dodgers game?
Go over on that.
You're going to go over?
I will take over on that, yes.
Last night it was 6-5.
That's over.
That is over, yes. Thank you, Frank. I don't know how to do without you. All right, I'll go over. Mackenzie Gore, Major League leader in strikeouts, will be pitching tonight against the Cubs. 101 Ks for Gore so far. 6.5 is his number tonight. He's been going over pretty regularly.
It's 6.5, you said?
Yeah, he's got to get 7. I'll say over. The problem with is he'll get over, but he won't get the win. He's only got 2 wins, despite all of his success this year. Over or under here? What you doing?
Kind of hard. It's kind of hard to bet against him with how good he's been. I'm going to go over.
Go over. All right. I know you don't like tennis, but this is a classic match tomorrow between 2 Grand Slam champions going head-to-head in the French Open semifinals. Top seed Arina Sabalenka against 3-time defending champ Iga Swiatek in the semifinals tomorrow.
Bless you.
You're welcome. Sabalenka is favored by 1.5 games. Swiatek seems like the play here. She's won 3 straight French Open titles. Sabalenka, though, is an absolute powerhouse. I'll take Sabalenka.
I will too, because the last time you tried to get me to bet for a 3-time reigning defending champion, it was Oklahoma, and they lost.
Oh, yes, in the softball. They were actually a 4-time champion. Yes. We have one more for you, Frank. Tonight's game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals, 6.5 goals for Edmonton and Florida. 6.5 goals tonight for the game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll pick a winner later in the show.
I'm going to say over.
You are.
Because Edmonton can really put it on you.
They can.
When they're clicking, they can really put it on you, and I think they're going to try to really come out swinging tonight.
You cannot take penalties against Edmonton. Their power play is lethal, as the old saying goes.
Especially with how Game 1 against Dallas wound up, where they had the 3-0 lead and then lost 6-3. I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas at any point.
You'll go over.
I'm going over.
All right. Well, I'm going to go under because I've seen Florida and they can shut anybody down. And I don't think it'll be more than 3-2 tonight. Yeah. So I'll go under. Teams play close to the vest normally in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yes, they do.
All right. We'll see. We got 6 picks tonight. I was 8-0 last night. I would predict something no better than 1-5 tonight. That's how things normally go on situations like this. Frank did a nice job for our next segment. Tony will be with us on it. And it's not the look at Taylor Ward and Luis Robert and not even Jared Duran, because Duran isn't even mentioned in this, particular segment. But because those are obvious people that are going to be available at the trade deadline. Losing teams that'll be looking to trade players. But what about teams that aren't sure whether or not they're going to be at the trade deadline and offering or buying or selling? Frank brings a whole bunch of those up, and Tony and I discuss who should do what and whether the Padres should be interested. That's all coming up after we take a short break here. Don't forget, Padre baseball coming up tonight at 6:45. Sam Levitt with the Padre pregame show at 5:45. And Gwynn and Chris until that time on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan.
What's up, San Diego?
Tony Gwynn Jr. in San Francisco, where the Padres will try to notch another victory later this evening against the Giants. Frank Marchese, once again, sitting in for Matt Scraby. And we're only going to let you sit in for the rest of the week, Frank, if guys like Brandon Nimmo catch fly balls on the warning track and help the Dodgers lose, which
Thanks for that.
should have been the case last night. I'm just saying. We could have been in first place, but we'll give you a pass as long as the Mets beat the Dodgers tonight, Frank. Speaking of baseball, what's everyone going to be talking about the next month and a half? The trade deadline and who's going to be available and who's not and who are the Padres going to get and who's realistic to get. So, Frank, take us through what you've got here as far as some of the names that at least a very reputable publication like The Athletic says will be up for grabs.
So this is a list comprised, again, by The Athletic, borderline seller teams, so teams that are 50-50 or worse odds of getting to the playoffs and who their biggest asset is that would be available at the trade deadline. So you guys can go back and forth on do you think
so the Padres will not be a team that have an asset here because they're not going to be sellers?
Possibly.
Oh.
They might be on the list. They might not be.
Oh.
We got to go through the list here.
Okay.
So you guys will go through. Do you think they will be sellers? And then do you think the guy will be traded? So first up on the list here, we'll start with Tony first here. The Milwaukee Brewers are on this list as potential sellers if they start a downturn. And Rhys Hoskins is the top player, is their top asset that they will potentially have on offer. Tony, do you think the Brewers will be sellers? And if they are, do you think Rhys Hoskins is out of Milwaukee?
Do I think they'll be sellers? It's tough to say. I think the Central was just never decided. I know the Cubs are playing good baseball and they're 16 games over 500. But I don't count out the St. Louis Cardinals or the Milwaukee Brewers. I'm gonna say no. No, I'm gonna say Brewers are tough, man. They're 9-1. They play well. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So Brewers are not sellers to Tony. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, they've been hot lately, right? They've won, I think.
Yeah, 9-1.
9 out of 10, right? They won again today over Milwaukee. And, they have the defending manager of the year in the National League, right? Former Padre, Pat Murphy. Wow. And once again, they were pretty much given up for dead at the beginning of the season because they lost, got rid of a couple more guys. Everybody said, the Brewers
got
can't
out the
do
gate
it.
Slow.
And then, Pat Murphy's got them going again. And I think they're 5 or 6 games over 500. I think they're only a half game behind the Cardinals. Now, the Padres can, do a little something about that this weekend. But no, I think the Brewers are going to be buyers. Buyers might be too much. Right. Yeah, I just don't know that they can afford to sell Rhys Hoskins because I think they have enough of a chance.
All righty. So next up, we know the Miami Marlins are going to be sellers at the deadline.
Looks that way.
Their biggest asset is, will they trade Sandy Alcantara, Chris?
I think they should. Where are they going with Sandy Alcantara? I think it's Alcantara, although it gets confusing to me because it's spelled like Alcantara. I think they would be stupid not to. I mean, how many pitchers do you know can gain you some prospects, and that pitcher you're trading has an ERA over 8? Not too many, but he's probably the only one. So the Marlins have to do this. It seems like enough teams are interested, and I think the Padres should check in on it. I don't know if they're going to have enough, but you can never have enough starting pitching, Tony. We found that out.
Yeah, for sure. This is no brainer. I think they'll sell them. Now, I don't think you can account for knowing what this front office in Miami is going to actually do.
Oh boy, yeah.
But I think he's probably, even with an 8.47 ERA, he's probably still the best piece on the board in all of baseball.
Wow, yeah,
so
that's true. Yeah.
So I think this is a no-brainer. You have to trade him. I mean, you hope that he gets his stuff going here in the next couple of months where you can really maximize it. But yeah, you're still going to garner quite a bit, even when his numbers look the way.
I think they should trade him to whatever team in baseball can send the Marlins some fans. They had absolutely nobody in the building the last 3 days. Yeah,
change.
with the Rockies in town. So that's what they need, some fans.
Well, next up is going to be a team that just showed the Padres up a couple of weeks ago. That is the Toronto Blue Jays.
All right.
The possibility that they are sellers is somewhat high with a packed AL East, and their top piece,
according to The Athletic,
Bo Bichette.
Ooh,
Tony, do you think Toronto will be sellers and possibly sell Bo Bichette?
They'll be sellers, I think. And yes, I think they will move Bo Bichette.
Really?
Yeah. I think the Yankees are going to run away with the East. And I don't have a lot of faith in them wild card wise. I mean, even in the wild card, Toronto's in it, but everybody's in it. So I think they're at some point, especially that this team is, I would say, should have been already ascended. They've only gone backwards. And at some point, you got to hit the reset button. You've already signed Vladdy to his big deal, so you got your cornerstone. I think they're on the verge of having to have somewhat of a reset, and I think Bo Bichette might be the piece that goes.
Chris?
I think it would be a sensible move for the Blue Jays to do something this year, because to me they're stuck in purgatory. They're kind of the 80 and 82 team, which means don't really want to sell because I'm close to the wild card. But, if I do sell, then it's going to look like we're giving up. The problem is they're not going to be any better than 80 and 82 as they're currently constructed. So I think you do start over. You build around, Guerrero, and Bichette's your best way to get 2 or 3 guys. Because I think people around baseball think he's a good guy to get. He's young. He's had some success. I think he won a batting title, although he struggled the last 2 years, or year and a half. I will say this: the Padres ought to be interested in Bo Bichette just because he plays shortstop, and we know that the Padres like to collect shortstops, and then put them elsewhere.
Yeah. Chris, next one's up for you: the St. Louis Cardinals.
Why is this for me?
Well, we're going back and forth.
Oh, I see. I'm first. Okay.
St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, I got it.
Are they going to be sellers? And their top piece, their closer, Ryan Helsley.
The Cardinals have been surprising, right, this year. I think a lot of people had them in last place in the division, and they're not there. They're 5, I think, out right now. But Tony's right. The whole NL Central is not very good, and the Cubs are going to win it. So the Cardinals ought to realize that they've taken a couple of good steps here with young players. They've got a lot of good ones. Donovan, Burleson, Wynn, Victor Scott in the outfield. Jordan Walker's finally started to, scratch the surface a little bit. They need a little bit more pitching, some young pitching. So Helsley could bring them something. It's smart if the Cardinals sell for the future. But if they do that, then they have to send Arenado to somebody as well. They can't just keep him around as baggage.
Tony?
What's interesting is I think Mosaic was just on, I think it might have been MLB Network, and he basically said he's rooting for his team to basically throw a wrench in them having to move guys.
In his plans, yes.
So it sounds like it's in his plans to move guys if they need be, if the record's not where it's supposed to be. But and I think right now what he's seeing is that they're giving themselves a chance. But if they tank or they have for them, it's really a bad couple of weeks. I don't think they're gonna be on the fence about it. They're gonna move guys. So or Helsley or Arenado, those type of guys, if they're not in it, they will get moved.
Tony, we're to stay in the Missouri area with this next one. The Kansas City Royals buy or sell, and Seth Lugo as their
Nah,
top
Our old
piece.
friend. Our old friend.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Kansas City, especially in that division, and I know Detroit is kind of putting the throttle down right now, but I think they're a wild card team. You know, I think they have a legitimate. I think they're one out right now, and they're not gonna. And they are. I don't know. They're not in a place where they need to be bringing in anybody. They just brought up their big prospect from AAA yesterday.
I wish his name was easier to pronounce.
I do too. That's why I'm not even going
I
to go
know.
there.
Don't even try it.
You're
They
gonna
already got.
have to
they
learn
already
for a
got
couple
Bob-
weekends from now.
Yeah, well,
I
he'll
know.
get it
No
by
kidding.
then.
They
Jesse
got
will
Bobby.
school him by that point.
They got Bobby Witt Jr. already there, so they're already kind of rebuilt to the younger guys coming up. If anything, they'll be looking to add pieces. I would think at this point they're not where those other teams were, the Cardinals or the Miami Marlins looking to acquire assets, or the Blue Jays who have already kind of missed their window. It seems like that team. I think the Royals are window of opportunity is opening up.
Agree with Tony 100%. Chris Bubick was the pitcher of the month in baseball. Their other left-handers coming back here, I think, in the next day or two. Reagans.
Yeah, Regan, yeah.
You know, so they're loaded to make a run for the second half. So no, I don't think the Royals, even if they lost a few games in the next couple of weeks, the Royals, I don't think would be trading anybody.
Chris, we're going back to another old friend here for this one, Cincinnati Reds.
All
and
right.
Nick Martinez.
Nick
being their top
Martinez is the
asset.
number one guy. The Reds are just stuck also. You know, they keep telling us that they're better, but they're just not. They're still, Terry Francona's supposed to be the difference maker. And with all due respect to one of the best managers of recent vintage, he still can't go out and play. And the Reds, to me, are confused. I don't think they know exactly where they are and what they're doing. They have a bunch of guys, other than Ellie De La Cruz, the rest of these guys just plug and play in different spots. The lineup is completely haphazard night after night after night. I think everybody platoons pretty much on that team. Nobody really knows what their role is. And that's because of the way the team is constructed. So, they got a couple of pretty good lefties too. Lodolo and Abbott, but they're inconsistent. So I think the Reds should trade. They're in fourth place in the lousy division. So if you can get something for Nick Martinez, I think he's a valuable piece to somebody. Sure.
Tony?
Yeah, I look at it differently, but I do agree with Chris. I think they should trade Nick Martinez. This is a young team. They're supposed to be kind of figuring it out. This is Ellie De La Cruz's what? Second year, third year?
Maybe third, yeah.
Third year. Like, he's still figuring out the type of player he's going to be. And so, and that's really goes for most of their team. They're all extremely young. So I don't expect them to be better than a veteran Cub team or any of those teams that we just finished talking about in that division that, are a little bit more, besides the Cardinals, who I think are probably as young, but maybe have a few more vets on their team to kind of guide them the right way. But I think they should trade Nick because I don't know that he is best suited on a team like that right now.
I'll tell you what,
Nick
Nick
would be good on a team that's having a chance to win.
Don't you think Emilio Pagan could get something for them? I mean, he's not the
For
closer
sure.
of the future, but he's done a good job this year, good enough to probably be picked up by someone.
He's definitely giving them another trade piece that they may have not anticipated.
I think they
if
are.
if he keeps this up.
Well, Tony, we're going to go back to Florida here for this one. The Tampa Bay Rays as a seller, with Pete Fairbanks being the top one on the block.
Pete Fairbanks, yeah.
So I have to tell you guys this. I don't know if you guys have seen this kind of mosh they put together of Fairbanks. He is hilarious.
Yes, he's fantastic.
One of the most honest interviews you'll ever get, with a little quirkiness. He is easily my favorite dude to watch do an interview. That being said, yes. I mean, anything Tampa's doing, I mean, they all can get got at the way they operate. And I think Pete Fairbanks is a good back-end arm. that you can plug in, and his stuff works everywhere. And so, yes, I think he will be moved because I don't think Tampa's going to be anywhere near the top of that division. And somebody's going to get a very good closer, back end arm.
Chris?
The Tampa Bay Rays amaze me because I can't name a single player on the roster until they come play the Padres.
Ha-Sung Kim.
Okay. Well, he didn't play. So
Caminero.
Yeah. You know, all right. I can name a few, but they're all no-name guys in a lot of ways. And yet I looked at the standings the other day. They're over 500 again. You know,
of course they are.
I mean, somehow, you know, their crazy analytics, you know, seem to get the job done. But again, I think they're a lot like, who was the other team that I said is always 80 and 82? We've gone through so many teams here.
Toronto,
right. I think they're very similar, right? So I think Tampa Bay still needs a little bit more. And, you know, a guy like Fairbanks could get them a little more. And they're really good at identifying prospects. So I would do it if I was Tampa Bay.
Let's just hope that a trade for him isn't, as Fairbanks would say, just an all-encompassing suck of a trade. Arizona Diamondbacks are the next one as we come back out west. And their top asset, Eugenio Suarez. Chris.
One of the biggest disappointing teams in the league, right? But, you know, Zach Gallen finally pitched a good game last night, which they desperately needed with Corbin Burns going out. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to give up yet. They were built to try to get back to the World Series this year. Suarez is too big of a piece. Although he's enticing, because with all those home runs, somebody would want to snag him. I would stay the course if I was the Diamondbacks and hope that we have a better second half.
Tony?
Yeah, I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to give up, especially considering that they got hot late last year to kind of make that charge back into the division after they kind of stunk it up through the first half. So I expect that they'll hang with it a little bit longer. Maybe Corbin Burns' long-term health may have a factor in that, but yeah.
And the last one here, Tony, you can look at the article. You have the link up. I'm not being a jerk when I do this.
The New York Mets.
The San Diego Padres.
Really? They are in the article.
With Michael King being the top asset.
I'll give Tony first crack.
I think that as long as the Padres are in it, he won't get traded. I think, you know, the question is, can the Padres keep both guys in Dillon and or King? That is the question. Because if they can't, then, you know, and the Padres do somehow fall out of it, you probably are then making a decision on one of the two if they can't indeed sign both. And then you have to ask yourself, which one of the two would you rather have?
The answer to that has changed.
It's what I'm saying.
I think almost everybody would have said Dylan Cease at the beginning of the season. I mean, Dylan's got one win. Michael King is one of the top guys in the league, you know, when he's out there. And I expect him to be back out there. You don't think people would have a little pause after this little kind of injury issue popped up? Maybe. But I personally, at least for the foreseeable future, feel a whole lot more comfortable going with Michael King. Cease, you know, has not been consistent enough for my liking, and I think a lot of Padre fans liking. But I think it's a moot point. Padres are not going to be going anywhere. They're in the hunt all year long. I think they're committed to being in the hunt all year long. Frank, I can't believe you would even mention the Padres.
They were on the article.
I don't care what the article said. You just ignore stuff like that. That's all.
We got to be realistic here.
That's not realistic.
Yes, it is.
This isn't realistic. The Padres are not losing 22 games in a row anytime soon and falling out of the hunt.
When did I say that?
Well, you're saying they're going to be, you know, potentially.
No, I said they're about 50-50.
No, they're
so
not
whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. They are
50-50 for the playoffs.
Just about,
I'm not knocking you. I'm not knocking that.
That's what the article said.
Well, the article's wrong.
I didn't make any of those up.
Okay,
they are on the Athletic article.
I don't
click
care.
on it whenever.
I don't. All right. I got you. All right. I before I continue, let me say, then I'm with you. That you don't, you're only quoting The Athletic. You're not making any of that up. I got you. But the notion that the Padres are exactly a coin flip to be a playoff team, I don't think is accurate.
I don't either, to be honest.
I think there's 5 teams in the National League that are a little better than the rest. And I think the Padres are one of those 5.
I would agree.
And whatever order you want to put the Cubs, the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Padres, those are the 5. And I believe that all 5 will be in the playoffs. And I would be quite surprised if any of the 5 are not in the playoffs. So I don't believe that's 50-50. But allow The Athletic to think what they want to think.
I have a thought. I have a thought.
Really?
Here.
Yeah. You want to share it with us?
I think we should thought about traffic. And then before we go to break, we'll still have a little bit of time. Padre lineup is out.
All right, let's get you traffic. And then while you're enjoying traffic, because I know you enjoy it, understand that the Padre lineup will be on the other side.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a few problems here, guys. Looks like a vehicle wound up in a ditch over the right shoulder. South 805 before Balboa. Also, watch out for a stalled motorhome, partially blocking the Highland Avenue on-ramp to westbound 54. And northbound 125 just past Spring Street, a collision over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Thank you, Kelly Danick, for that update. You ever listen to the traffic, like when you're driving along, like actually pay attention to it, or does it kind of go in one ear and out the other?
Usually it's background noise for me because I'm thinking about 20 different other things.
Right. I think most people, nothing against Kelly. She's providing an important service.
Absolutely. 100%.
But I don't think many of us actually take advantage of that. That's my point. I think we kind of go, oh, the traffic. It's time for me to think of something else. And what you should be doing is,
thinking about the Padre lineup.
Right. Be thinking about the Padre lineup. So let's have it, Frank. What do you have for us tonight? I'll let you be the lineup reader tonight.
Well, thank you. Leading off in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr., as you would imagine.
Yeah.
DHing, batting second, Luis Arraez.
He's DHing tonight. That's newsworthy to a certain extent.
Manny Machado at third, batting third.
Right.
Jackson Merrill in center.
Jackson is continuing to slump. I just want to note that. It's not like it's, something that never happens in the world.
Only a 323 average. I think,
but he was at 460 something when that started. So
I think it's option time for Merrill.
You've had enough.
I'm not convinced
Cut
on this
him
kid.
loose. Yeah.
Gavin Sheets batting fifth at first base this evening.
Gavin's at first base.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Xander Bogaerts at short, batting sixth. Jake Cronenworth batting seventh at second base. Elias Diaz is your catcher. He's batting ninth.
Attaboy, Elias.
And the reason why I'm skipping who's batting eighth and playing left field is because I have a point to make.
Oh.
After you guys in chat mocked me after helping me win the fantabulous sports game.
Right, but then they mocked you for suggesting that Brandon Lockridge should get a little more playing time.
Guess who went 2 for 2 last night? Brandon Lockridge.
And
guess who's batting eighth in left field this evening for the San Diego Padres?
Lockridge?
Brandon Lockridge.
Good for you.
Do not doubt me.
My comment on tonight's lineup is I think I'm correct that the Padres are not going to chance it with Gavin Sheets in left field anymore.
I would, yeah.
They have him at first base tonight, and they have the DH for Arraez to get the night off. The second thing is they hate Luis Camposano. And why is he on the roster? He's there to DH against left-handed pitching. This is the second consecutive game against lefties that he has not played. It's okay.
And you have a third coming up
tomorrow.
Yep.
Another lefty.
4 lefties in the lineup.
I mean, why give him a roster spot? Bring somebody in who actually you could use. Just saying. Coming up next, Chris versus the fans. 833-288-0973. We've had a couple of rollicking games this week. Let's see what happens to next in the trivia portion of our program. If anybody's tuned in and saying, what happened to Scraby? Don't you worry about it. We'll take care of him. No, he's been filling in on the afternoon show for Braden Surprenant, who's on vacation. Simple. Scraby, scheduled to return next week. Is that right, Frank? Are you going back? When's Braden actually coming back? Is he on a 6-month, walk about the world? Where is he?
Braden allegedly is getting sent back here on Saturday.
This Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, so
we
he'll be
will
back in business Monday.
Yes, back to normal scheduled fun.
Normal
on
scheduling
Monday.
next Monday. And all just in the nick of time Monday for start of the Dodger series.
Yes.
Monday night.
Yep.
We've been waiting all year for it. Padres can't afford to look ahead. They got to play the Giants tonight and tomorrow. And they also have to play the Brew Crew on the weekend.
Yep.
But we can look ahead to the Dodger series.
We can.
Starts Monday night. Should I see who the scheduled pitching matchup is for the first game? Monday night? Why not? Do you know it offhand already?
It'd be Cease is going. That would be his turn in the rotation.
I have Pavetta.
Oh, no, Pavetta's tonight.
Right? And 1, 2, 3.
So it'd be Vasquez.
No, there'll be 4 games in between tonight and Monday. It'll be tomorrow. Cease.
Monday. Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you said Friday. My bad.
I'm talking about Monday against the Dodgers. It'll be Pavetta and Kershaw. That's the scheduled matchup.
That'll be fun.
Second game. Let's retire the crying Kershaw meme, by the way. Please put that away. Don't ever bring it back. Dylan Cease, Tony Gonsolin in game 2. Next Wednesday afternoon, Randy Vasquez, Landon Kanak, or Knack. That's the series matchup for the Doyers next week. Can't wait. I mean, look, these last 2 games against the Giants have been awesome. Division games, a lot of stress, strategy. It's what we want.
Yeah, they have been fun.
I agree.
It's been a very good series.
The outcome's
so far.
been, helped make it more worthwhile. But anyway, we digress. It's time to play a little trivia. The game is called Chris versus the Fans.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be referring to this for the next few weeks, Frank. So let me be the first. If you're out there and you think you could never win Chris versus the Fans, understand that anything is possible. The Rockies today finished a sweep of the Marlins. Okay? So anything can happen. But you can only win Chris versus the Fans if you take a shot at it. You call in, you play 833-288-0973. Even people that aren't great at trivia can win Chris versus the Fans because of the way the game is designed. And if you win, Frank, I'm going to let you read today. I read it yesterday.
You're going to let me read today?
Way too long. Why don't you want to pick out the highlights? No, you can't pick out the highlights.
For the I'm sorry.
For the prize for Chris versus the Fans.
For Chris versus the Fans.
Yes.
Let me scroll on down to it.
Scroll down to it.
It is quite a thing to read.
I know. I'm going to rest. I'll take a nap. Wake me up.
Celebrate summer with a spa and pool getaway at Resorts World Las Vegas, home of the largest elevated pool complex on the Vegas Strip. You'll receive a 2-night stay at Resort World Vegas, Las Vegas. Dine poolside at one of 5 unique pool experiences and experience the ultimate in relaxation and wellness at Awana Spa, one of the largest co-ed spa facilities in Las Vegas. To book your summer stay, please visit rwlasvegas.com.
That wasn't too bad.
No cough in there.
Sorry about the cough.
It's just rwlasvegas.com.
I'm doing my best to not cough on air, but people probably can tell I've had a cold, a little summer cold here the last few days.
Yes.
And I think it's starting to break up, but that means coughing. So I'm doing my best not to do that on air, but I'm not always successful. All right, let's get to our game. You get 3 questions. They get harder as you go along. If you're right, you move on. If you're wrong, then I get a chance to answer it. But if I miss it, you move on anyway. And if it's all down to the last question, you get it right or I miss it, you win. And it has happened before where contestants have missed all three
and still won.
But I've missed all three and they have won. That's why I say, if you're out there thinking, I'd like to play Christopher the Fan someday, but I don't think I can win. You never know. As they say, was it the old Yogi Berra-ism?
The Rockies can win a series.
No,
Oh,
he didn't say
my
that.
bad.
The Rockies didn't exist when Yogi was going. One of the many things Yogi said is you can describe baseball in 2 words. You never know.
Yep.
That's why it's a Yogiism.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead, Frank. Pick a contestant and let's go.
All right. So our first contestant today, let's go with Luke in Mission Valley. You're going to open it up. Luke, how you doing today?
All right. Hi, Luke.
Good. How are you guys?
We're
Thanks for having
very
me.
good. Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Ready for question number 1?
Yes, sir.
It's on its way. Who are the 2 teams in the NBA Finals starting tomorrow night?
All right.
The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Indiana Pacers.
He's on it. Luke is ready for game 1 of the finals.
So there is number 1. Let's go on to question number 2.
Number 2.
In golf, what is the maximum number of clubs a golfer can carry in his bag for a round?
There is a number.
That would be 14.
Wow. He
Wow.
nailed it quickly. He didn't miss
Right
a
on
round.
it.
Luke.
There
wow.
we go.
Should we just give him the prize? I mean, he sounds like he's all over this stuff.
Let's not
Man.
get too far ahead of ourselves here.
Luke, we'll see
Big
you at
golfer.
the
that was a good one.
Oh,
I
you're
appreciate it.
you're a good golfer. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
How many do you have a hole in one in your life?
I do not. Closest
Yeah,
was
it's
at
okay.
Tory number 3.
Tory
Like
number
6 inches.
3. Well, that's impressive that you got close there. No hole in ones over here either, but hopefully one day, Luke.
All right, we got to make this a good one here. Question
The
number
Rockies
3.
did sweep the Marlins. A
Yes.
hole in one is possible.
There we go.
Okay. Giving a tester here to Luke now.
We know Canada's winter sport is hockey.
Oh, brother.
What is their summer sport?
They have one? Like the national sport of Canada in the summer?
Well, yeah,
does that mean?
more or less.
Eeh.
Is it cycling?
Cycling. Gonna try that.
No, it is not, Chris.
I have a guess because I heard once that Canada's real national sport. Well, no, curling would be a possibility, but that's not
It's
a
a
summer
winter
sport
sport.
either. Lacrosse.
It
Wow,
is
I did get it,
lacrosse.
I remember hearing that a long time ago. Sorry about that, Luke. You're a good player, though. I know
Yeah,
that.
that
Play
was
again, Luke.
That one actually does
We'll see you
kind
next
of
time.
hurt a little bit.
Luke will be back.
All
Luke
right,
will be
let's
back.
go to David in Del Cerro. David, how you doing today?
Hi, David.
I'm doing good, guys. How you guys doing today?
Very nice part of town you are in, David. I like Del Cerro.
Not shabby, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just nice. It's not neither here nor there in that regard. I just think it's nice. I like Del Cerro. I always have a good feeling in Del
Thank you.
Cerro. Nice views. All right, go Frank. Get
All
me
right,
out of this.
Let's go. Question number 1. Which MLB fan voting ballot released today in preparation for its game in July?
Fan ballot in baseball. What starts today? Fan voting.
The All-Star game.
All-Star game makes sense. Yep.
There it is. The All-Star ballot out today. So
Is the
everyone-
All-Star game like I barely even remember it anymore.
It's not
It
worth
used to be a
remembering now.
big thing.
Yeah, because now
I can't tell you how big
they've
of a
made
deal
the
it was
game
back when I
meaningless.
was a kid, Frank. It was like you stopped the world for the All-Star game.
They made the game meaningless now. There's
Yeah.
nothing.
But it was meaningless before. It just didn't seem
No.
that way.
No, you had World Series.
I'm
home field
talking about
advantage
way
on the
before
line.
that. No, the home field advantage was just something they put in to try and make it interesting. The All-Star game used to be the thing. Anyway,
Well, here we go.
I'll try to school you on that some other time.
Question number 2.
Balloting is out there, so vote for all Padres. And by the way, you shouldn't vote for all Padres. You should vote for who you think should be on the All-Star team.
Yes.
I say.
I agree.
Okay.
Who is the only MLB player to hit 2 grand slams in a single inning?
Woo!
Not game, inning.
Inning, yeah. That's pretty well known around here, though, I think. We'll see if who's our guest here? Who's our contestant?
David.
Oh, sorry, David. Yes. See if David knows this. Only player ever to hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. He does have a roundabout connection to San Diego.
Fernando Tatis Jr. I know that's not it.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
No.
He almost got it, though. It is Fernando Tatis, but it's senior.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Yeah, Fernando Tatis Sr. was famous for that. 2 grand slams in 1 inning. You know, the thing that I'll remember about that, first of all, is pretty incredible. It's unlikely to happen again. Secondly, both grand slams came off the same pitcher, Chan-Ho Park. They didn't take him out of the game. He was still in there for the second grand slam. Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Sorry, Chan-Ho.
Troy in Point Loma, you're up next. Troy, how are you tonight?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good, Troy. How are you?
All right, here we go. Question number 1.
I don't know who the manager of the Dodgers was that night, but he should be sued for malpractice.
It's one of those wear it innings.
I guess.
Who had a 4-for-4 night last night for the Padres, including a 2-run, 2-out hit in the 9th?
Mr. Clutch, I say.
Manny Machado.
That's not right. It's Manny Machado.
Oh,
yes, he can be Machado on a night like that.
All right, Troy, question number 2, disregarding that completely.
Yes, I know.
Which Olympic athlete has the most medals?
Ever. Tough. Not tough, man. Gettable.
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. That's what I would have guessed, and that's correct. Very good. Michael Phelps. What's he got, about 25, 6? Got a lot.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, not bad.
Here we go. Second question, number 3 of the day.
All right, we're down to the nitty-gritty here.
Who was the first player in NFL history to run for 2,000 yards?
First player to run for 2,000 yards. A couple, not many have done it, but a few have done it since.
Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders. Always a good guess, but not this time. Yes, it was pretty famous back in the day when this happened, I must tell you. It seems silly now, but O.J. Simpson was first. Yeah. Sorry about that. You know, you get me with this question from the 70s. I'm almost unbeatable. Almost unbeatable.
Well,
2,003 yards for OJ.
We'll try to avoid that one here then.
Yeah,
for
in just a 14-game season. So it was a pretty good.
Let's go with let's go back to Del Cerro. Let's go to Ron in Del Cerro. Ron, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hey,
good,
Ron.
Good. All right. So we
are
are
same cold as Chris.
What was that?
You got a cold also?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Same
You hear my
cold.
name.
Okay, yeah, right.
all right. Here we go. Question number 1. What is the nickname for Filipino boxer Manny Pacquiao?
Manny Pacquiao. This is a number 1, huh? Okay. Tough.
I know it, but I can't think of it.
Can't think of it.
I don't have a guess.
He doesn't have a guess. That's smart. Sometimes don't have a guess because you might lead me to something. I know this too, but it's not coming to me in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Manny Pacquiao, the Manasseh Mauler. I don't know. So I think this is good news here.
You were close with that one. Yeah.
What is it?
The Manasseh Mauler was very close.
Oh.
His nickname is Pac-Man. Let's go to question number
Pac-Man?
Yes.
Oh, Pacquiao is Pac-Man?
So
I honestly have never heard that before.
Let's go with question number 2.
I like the Well, there was a boxer, a famous legend, who was the Manasseh Mauler, and I think it was Jack Dempsey. But I'm going to look it up while you ask the next question.
What is it called in hockey when a player scores a goal, gets an assist, and has a fight all in the same game?
One of my favorite occurrences in sports, which should tell you
I'm
that
not
I
a
do know
hockey
the
guy.
answer to this.
I don't have a clue.
No, he doesn't know. He's not a hockey fan. That's a Gordie Howe hat trick, and that is one of my favorite things in sports.
That
in
is
fact,
a Gordie Howe hat trick.
I think anybody in hockey that thanks, Ron. Good luck with the cold there. I think that anybody who gets a goal and an assist in a hockey game ought to seek out a fight after that, just so that they can say they had a Gordie Howe hat trick.
We got a long big five here today.
Yeah, no,
So
let's get to our
we should-
tiebreaker real quick.
Okay, let's
do
do
a tiebreak.
that.
Go next. Yeah, we've had some fun today, but we carried on a little too late. Jack Dempsey, by the way, famous boxer, was nicknamed the Manasseh Mauler.
Let's go to Jason in San Diego. Jason, how are you?
Jason, you get tiebreaker duties today.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hi, Jason. All right, give
So
me an
are-
athlete, or give us an athlete.
Yes,
Who we
you're
going
on
with?
tiebreaker. I'm gonna have to look this one up.
Just
real
pick
quick
up,
'cause I
pick
was not-
somebody and type their name in. That's pretty simple.
All right,
Frank.
so let's go with.
What do you got?
Da-da-da-da-da.
How about Brandon Nimmo?
How about not? Okay,
Yes,
we got
Brandon
people
Nimmo. I'm upset with him right now
because we've got people already yelling at me over this being a Met show. That's
not a
let's
Met
not.
show.
I know it's not.
Number one, number two, the Mets are important to us this week.
All right, let's go with.
Who?
Let's go with Jake Peavy.
Jake Peavy. Okay. What's the question, Frank?
How many strikeouts
Ooh.
did Jake Peavy end his
Career
major
with?
league career
2,000.
with?
Answering quickly. 2,000.
Okay. Jason, higher or lower than
The
2,000?
actual answer, is it higher or lower than 2,000 strikeouts?
Dang it, Chris usually says how many seasons, and I can kind of figure it out from there.
Let's okay, let's give it to him.
15
He had
seasons.
15 seasons.
Okay, 15 seasons. Let's go higher.
Higher than 2,000. Hey, all right, Jason. Thank you for winning.
2,207.
2207. That's a correct answer. We got to get to break. So
Yes,
let's
we
do
do.
that. We'll kick it around with Jason. Nicely done. More Gwynn and Chris coming up, including a big five at the bottom of the hour. 7:45. Tony Gwynn Jr. is there. He'll be joining us for our Big Five in about 10 minutes. Also tonight, you got game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, if you're not a hockey fan, I get it. But it's still fun to watch these guys at this level playing as hard as they're going to be playing to try to win the cup. And if you don't know anything about it, keep an eye on Edmonton. They'll be in the white jerseys tonight if you need help. And keep an eye on number 97. This guy's one of the best hockey players I think I've ever seen in terms of skating and creating and getting around 6 guys to set up a teammate for a goal. His name's Connor McDavid.
Good old Connor McDavid.
He's never won the Stanley Cup, so he's trying to lead Edmonton a la Gretzky to glory starting tonight. Florida's got great players. They're the defending champions. So I think there's some good storylines in the Stanley Cup. And then also tonight, if you're so inclined, switch over or, use what is the old last channel feature. You go back and forth. You got the game 1 of the Women's College World Series getting underway. Texas and Texas Tech. And that means Texas Tech star pitcher Najee Kennedy. I still haven't quite got her name pronounced the way I'd like, but you'll recognize her. She'll be in the circle for Texas Tech. She is the first, and I'm sure only, $1 million NIL women's softball player. But she's
still amazing to me.
She's backed it up, I guess. She's led Texas Tech to the championship. It's a 2 out of 3, starts tonight against Texas. All right, keep an eye on those things if you so desire. We got to get, not quite to a break, or do you want to go? I don't want us to be late. We got to get to the Big Five.
We still
got a couple minutes left.
3-4 minutes.
All right. David Schoenfeld from ESPN, baseball guy. He likes to break stuff down analytically. I don't have time for all of that. But I will tell you that he goes over some of the first half real disappointment surprises in baseball and whether or not they're going to continue to be disappointments. So let me run them down. Juan Soto, $765 million. He's hitting .233. Does have some homers of late. He hit one last night. He's got 11 homers now. Is he going to continue to be a big bust or not? David Schoenfeld says no. And he points out that Juan Soto has hit in a ton of bad luck so far this year, as far as hard hit balls that keep getting caught. Because the Mets are still doing pretty well, right? Aren't they just a game back of the Cubs for the best record in the National League?
They're thereabouts,
or a half, something like that. And they've done that with Soto not contributing as much as they'd like. I will still root against you, though, Juan. Sorry. Willie Adames and Anthony Santander, are they both busts? 2 more free agent signings. Adames with the Giants, he's coming into tonight's game with a .623 OPS. Only 5 home runs. Not much for 7 years, $182 million. Not to mention he's not really known as a great shortstop. But there's hope, says David Schoenfeld. He says Adames may still turn it around. Same for Anthony Santander, who's been really a bust for Toronto so far this year. Been a lot of them. How about Roki Sasaki? Where's he?
Yeah.
Jurickson Profar obviously had the suspension. I mean, there's been a lot of Corbin Burns. Been a lot of money spent on a lot of guys that aren't doing a darn thing.
Sometimes your best free agent pickup is the guy you don't get.
Yeah, Tanner Scott's another one. And the question is, he no longer one of the best relievers in baseball? David Schoenfeld says that's true. He's not. Dodgers are going to have to suck that up, according to David Schoenfeld. Sandy Alcantara, and we did look this up. That is correct. Alcantara. People mispronounce it like me all the time. Is he going to be the star of the trade deadline? Answer, no. Marlins will still get something for him, but not nearly as much because he's got an 8 ERA. Are the 25 Orioles done for the season? He says yes. Orioles need a 100-win pace from here just to get to a playoff level of 86 victories. They have been a surprise in how bad they have been. They've already fired a manager. It has not gone well. Two other teams that are surprisingly not good, Rangers and Braves, and both are doing it because they have no offense. Texas has really struggled this year. Adolis Garcia is one of the worst hitters in baseball all of a sudden. Can Bochy turn it around? They say no. They also say the Braves can't get there because there's too many other good teams in the National League. And the Diamondbacks will turn it around. They say no to that as well. I hope that one's right.
West is too good for Arizona.
Arizona may have created too big of a hole.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Kevin Ginkel, who's a San Diego guy from out here in East County, he had a 12.60 ERA this year, was just sent down.
Not good.
He was their 8th inning guy and a good one the year they went to the World Series.
Yeah.
Changes so quick. All right, Big Five is next. Stick around. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed. We are ready for one of my favorite times of the day, Big Five. And, Scraby's been missed. But I wouldn't say he's been missed on the Big Five. Big Frank, you've been solid.
Well, thank you very much.
What have you brought us today, sir?
Well, first of all, I've brought you
number 5.
After winning the first 12-team college football playoff and a national title as an at-large selection in 2024, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day would like to see future models include at least 4 automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten. The Big Ten has not publicly advocated for a specific playoff model, but it has discussed one that would automatically include 4 teams from the Big Ten and the SEC, 2 each from the Big 12 and ACC, and 1 from the top group of 5 champions. The Big 12 and ACC naturally have opposed that plan. Day would say, we are in the Big Ten. We have 18 teams and some of the best programs in the country. I feel like we deserve at least 4 automatic qualifiers. Tony, is that locking up too much of a 16-team bracket?
Yep, it is. I think it is. And I'm quickly starting to lose interest in this because it's just starting to feel like everything that I was hoping it wasn't going to be. And so, and that is that this just becomes a Big Ten SEC tournament.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like we're headed. It's so funny to me. I feel like the SEC heads are, in this case, the Big Ten heads.
Right.
They're not publicly asking for it, but what they are doing is telling their most high-profile coaches to get out in the media and voice these type of opinions. Now, Day is the first. I'm positive there will be more to follow from this conference that have the gravitas that he does. He might be the biggest fish in that bad boy, so he can do this. He might be the one, but I won't be surprised if we start hearing the same thing from SEC coaches as well here soon. I don't think Sankey and the people like in those seats will be the ones out in front of it. They could be. That would be bold, but I don't see that. But I see this being a thing that happens moving forward. I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan of it at all. I answered your question.
You did. You answered mine. I always want to point out to Ryan Day and to anybody else in the Big Ten that under the current format, which they seem so opposed to, the Big Ten had 4 teams in the playoff last year. They already did.
How about that?
They had Oregon. And Oregon got whipped, of course, we know, by Ohio State. So they played each other, which basically rendered their regular season meeting meaningless. Because Oregon beat Ohio State in the regular season, but nobody cares or remembers that now.
Nope.
Penn State got in. They were the team that finished 3rd and lost to Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, but they went a lot further than Oregon and got all the way to the Final Four. And then Indiana was the last team, and they certainly belonged in. I'm pretty sure Notre Dame blew them out by 30 points by halftime. So, this notion that the Big Ten is at least 4 teams deep is not always accurate, number one. And number two, the unspoken thing that's being said here, Tony, by the SEC and the Big Ten, they don't want to totally say it, but what they want us to know is that they really want to play off without any teams from the group of 5.
Right.
And they don't think that the group of 5 belongs on the same field with them. And I will point to last year's game between Boise State and Penn State, a game that Penn State won, I grant you, but a very competitive game right up until the 4th quarter when I think Penn State scored 10 points to kind of create a little separation. That was a really good game. Boise State belonged on the field. They didn't win, but it was a game.
Yeah.
So, it's exactly what you're saying, Tony. They want, more pieces of the pie because why? They get all the money. And I hope that the NCAA is able to hold it off. But I fear that you're right, Tony. within the next decade, going to have an SEC Big Ten football conference and let them go do what they do.
It's ruining college football
Yeah,
day
no
by
question,
day when
Frank.
it comes to this.
No question. I mean, Hofstra's not even being considered anymore.
There's a good reason for that, is they don't have a football program anymore.
I know.
Chris,
don't tell Wayne Corbett that. Didn't he go to Hofstra?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
This is right up your wheelhouse, Chris. FanDuel has banned a bettor who posted a video of himself heckling Olympic gold medalist Gabby Thomas at a recent track event and claimed, quote, "It made my parlay win." Dope. Thomas posted on X that an unnamed man, quote, "followed me around the track as I took pictures and signed autograph for fans, mostly children, shouting personal insults last week at a Grand Slam track event in Philadelphia." Grand Slam Track said in a statement that it is conducting, quote, "a full investigation into the reprehensible behavior captured on video." We kind of said it the other day, where these sports leagues will not get rid of it because they found a way to make money off of it. But seriously, we're hearing more and more of these stories as the days go on.
Yeah. Look, I mean, what else is new? Number one. Number two, you're kind of getting me thinking back to a quote that I read, and I think it was this morning or yesterday. It came from a guy named John Brown, who is way up at the top at ESPN. I don't know if he's the general manager or he's in charge, the CEO or the CIO or the CFO or whatever these things are. And one of the things that John Brown is a big part of is ESPN Bet and their whole thing with, making the kind of money that they're making. And he was referring to the Lance McCullers situation. And of course, we found, the authorities found that it was an overseas disgruntled bettor that was making the threats against Lance McCullers. And John Brown was quick to point out that he believes this was a one-off and that the betting doesn't have anything to do with the kind of threats that are going out there right now. That
Who's John Brown?
He's a big wig at ESPN, and he's a big wig in charge of ESPN Bet, that wing of ESPN.
Got you.
So now you know where he's coming from. But this whole all the people that are involved are myopic. They're honestly trying to get us to believe that these kinds of threats have been coming into athletes for years and years and years before all of this betting became much more prominent. And I just don't think it's true. It may have happened once or twice in the past, but now, Tony, I know this is a real concern moving forward because people lose money and they're not happy about it. Agreed?
Yeah, no, 100% agreed. Yeah, man, I don't know how he can come to that conclusion.
Right.
Honestly.
I love it.
I think, yes, there haven't always, there used to be like mob bosses that were doing all of the threatening and things of that nature. Like
yes,
now
Al
it's
Capone might come after you, but Joe from Serbia was not calling.
Because it was illegal, and so it was mixed up in the kind of underground world at that point.
That's a good point. Now, if you lost money, you didn't want to out yourself as saying you lost money.
100%, right? And so now it's legal in a lot of states, and you get regular Joe Schmoes who have more access to individuals that they're betting on than they've ever had before. And of course, humans are going to human. And that's unfortunately what's happening right now. You get a disgruntled, whether it's overseas or in the States, bettor who's pissed. And now he's going to take his frustration out on said person that he feels wronged him in this bet. And it's just out of this world ridiculous. I think eventually all sports leagues are going to really have to invest in security, and it may not even be of the physical type, right? I mean, maybe it's cyber security, maybe whatever it is. They're going to have to find a way eventually, because I think this is only going to get worse. I don't think it's going to somehow calm down.
I don't think so, Tony. John Brown said this is not a problem. This is not an issue of gambling. This is, people just would do this anyway. Come on.
No, they would.
I know.
No, they wouldn't. They would not be. They've been having sports for a long time. We are just now seeing this type of behavior take off on the graph chart right now.
We are living in the worst timeline possible.
Number 3.
Every day it gets worse and worse. Rory McIlroy defended.
Frank, are you in a hell of a good mood today? Apparently.
Rory McIlroy defended his decision to not speak to the media after each of his 4 rounds at last month's PGA Championship, saying Wednesday that he was upset about the news leaking that his driver had been declared non-conforming in a pre-tournament testing during what was already, quote, a weird week. McIlroy became the 6th golfer to complete the career Grand Slam by capturing the green jacket at the Masters, declined to talk to reporters each day while trying for 47th at PGA Championship at Quail Hollow in Charlotte.
Right.
During the second round, Sirius XM PGA Tour Radio reported that McIlroy's driver had been deemed non-conforming in testing earlier in the week. The PGA of America later confirmed that it had asked the USGA to conduct the testing at Quail Hollow and said about 50 players had their drivers inspected. The testing results were supposed to remain confidential. Tony, it sounds like Rory's got a pretty valid gripe here, does he not?
Yeah, he does. I mean, listen, I'm all for information, but I kind of look at this the same way as when Major League Baseball started testing, and they were keeping that was supposed to remain confidential, and then all of a sudden some names got out there, and fortunately for David Ortiz, it didn't stick the way that it has for some, but that was supposed to be confidential. It was supposed to not be held out, get it given out, and I feel Rory on this. Like I think when things, in order to get the cooperation in the first place, you probably had to promise that, and so that's a violation in whatever was promised of this confidentiality of Rory, and he's probably most pissed because his name is the one that got out. Over, it sounds like everybody's stuff was checked, and I'm sure his might not even have been the only one that was confiscated, but because he's the biggest name, he's the one that's going to get talked about. So yeah, I think he does have a gripe.
Boo-hoo, Rory. Boo bleeping hoo. Here's the thing. First of all, I don't like Rory McIlroy, so understand that I'm coming from that position to begin with.
Just to be clear, I'm not a fan of Rory.
I know. So you're being more fair than I am on this one, but I'm not gonna follow you down the path. Although I totally agree with you, when things are supposed to be confidential, they should stay that way. But Scottie Scheffler's name also came out in this very same situation, and Scottie Scheffler just explained it to everybody. Now, I don't know if I bought his explanation, but a lot of people wrote me when I didn't buy it and said what he was claiming was true. And that is that when drivers are used over and over and over and over again, and these guys had thousands of shots, they tend to wear down a little bit, right? And when they wear down, for some reason, that allows, when contact is made, and this is some, laws of physics that I don't understand, but the ball can carry a little further with a worn down club. So what happened is Scheffler, Rory, and some of these other guys, their clubs had worn down too much, and so they tested it and said, hey, you got to get back to, newer clubs. So that was it. It wasn't a major, really an issue. So Scheffler explained himself, and he went right on with the tournament. Here's my thing with Rory, because I feel like when he plays well, he always shows up. And when he doesn't play well, he walks away, which is what he did at the PGA. And it's his right, Tony. You agree, I agree. It's your right to talk to the media. I get it. But not really when you're Rory McIlroy. You're too big of a star. You owe a couple of words on your way to the car. Hey, I played terrible today. I don't feel like talking about it. At least
when you speak on it from that perspective, it does seem a what do you call it, chicken bleep, right? It does seem like he is kind of trying to backdoor having to talk.
Yes,
to the
he's
media
trying to
a
get
little bit.
around his excuse here. I think so. That's
Well,
sorry.
I didn't
Lori.
know that. I didn't know that my guy, by the way,
Your guy, Scotty
my
Scheffler,
guy,
right?
Scotty Scheffler. I didn't know that he was also named in this.
Yeah, nobody was really claiming these guys were cheating in a way. It was just this one of these situations where you need to check your clubs every 6 months to make sure they're not too worn to miss out on specifications. Right. And that's why a lot of guys it ended up had clubs that needed to be changed out. This wasn't a witch hunt for Rory McIlroy.
Okay, so he might have just been being a little baby here, huh?
Yes, there you go.
Might have been. By the way, you brought up Scotty Scheffler. 3 less wins than the Colorado Rockies since June 2nd.
Yes, the Rockies have broken the tie with Scotty Scheffler.
Number 2.
All right, we got to get through these next 2 quick here because we're running long. The marathon legal battle regarding player compensation and the makeup of college athletics in a landmark multi-billion-dollar antitrust case took another turn on Monday night. A federal judge granted attorneys involved in the $2.8 billion settlement an extension to file summary judgment at Daubert briefing, I believe that's how you pronounce that.
I wouldn't know. So,
with both sides still waiting for a final judgment in the original deadline set to be coming on Friday, the new deadline has been pushed back to June 27th to provide proper time for potential appeals. It also pushes the timeline for a potential resolution even closer to the expected start date of the revenue sharing payments to athletes, which is July 1st. Chris, is this a way to kind of force a deal to get done before the July 1st deadline?
I don't know. You confused me beyond belief, to be honest with you. And I'll just say this. I'm sure there's money, plenty of money to go around. So whatever deal they do make, maybe it's not going to be the tip top for everybody, but revenue sharing, we know how much money is available out there. So I'll leave it at that. I don't really know what's going on. Tony might know better than me here. So I'm gonna claim a little ignorance, which isn't the first time, by the way.
There's nothing to be ashamed of claiming ignorance on this because it is quite confusing.
Yeah.
If you know anything about it. I know a little bit about it, and they need to hurry up and get this done. This thing has been supposed to be done for months now, and the lawyers are, and I know they're trying to get it right, but it's leaving schools kind of like in limbo on what they're going to do. And for those who may not know, this is the same settlement that will impact the roster sizes on pretty much all of the teams. And the schools that are jumping into this revenue sharing issue will have the ability to be able to, make the rosters bigger in some cases, shorter in some cases, but they will have the ability to do full rides for everybody. So we'll see. I think they just need to hurry up and get this done. It is a way to force the action. Hopefully they get it done by this 27th because it just seems like they just keep pushing the date. This is like the 3rd or 4th push date back, I believe.
Dragging their feet, says Tony.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Number 1.
All right, really quick, just picks. Pick them for tonight. Stanley Cup Finals. Who do you got, Edmonton or Florida? Tony, for the series.
Florida won it last year, right?
Yes.
7-game series,
yes.
yes.
I think Edmonton gets their revenge.
Chris.
Tony Gwynn Jr. knows his hockey. To be understanding of that. The country of Canada has not been home to the Stanley Cup since 1993. It returns to the Great White North. I'll take Edmonton as well.
From opening day to the final out of the season, we're tracking
Alongside, if you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's. Authentic Mediterranean cuisine. Coronado, La Jolla. For dining takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Chase Budinger, one of the great athletes that has ever come out of San Diego. Not his fault that he went to the same high school as Scraby, La Costa Canyon. But
everyone has their weaknesses.
Right. There's certain things that can't be avoided. Their families lived in the same neighborhood. What can you do? But Chase Budinger has went on to an incredible, career. Played at Arizona in the NCAAs, and then drafted first-round pick in the NBA. Played 9 seasons, mostly with Houston, and retired 9 years ago. And now Chase Budinger, if don't remember, maybe you've heard this, but he's become one of the top beach volleyball players out there, anywhere. And he was in the Olympics this year, and he's 37 years old now, but still playing at the highest level of beach volleyball. And he'll join us. An interview Tony and I did with him a little earlier in the program. That's coming up in this hour. But Chase is going to talk about the AVP Pro Beach Volleyball Tour, which is coming to San Diego this weekend. And it's this Friday and this Saturday. And the matches are going to be played at Viejas Arena on the campus of San Diego State. And before you ask, beach volleyball inside? Yes, the answer is approximately 300 tons of sand are going to be trucked into Viejas Arena for this event this weekend. Chase will try to explain to us how that is possible. And that and other details on the life and times of Chase Budinger coming up. In the meantime, Frank, Padres, and Gigantes. First two have gone to the Padres in bonus panels, otherwise known as extra innings. And where'd you come up with that stat, by the way, yesterday? It was a good one.
Which one?
That the Padres are the first team to win back-to-back games on the road when not scoring in the first 8 innings of either game. And the last team to do that was the Diamondbacks 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Padres did it, obviously, Monday night. They did not score until the 10th. Last night, they did not score until Manny Machado. The not all that clutch Manny Machado came up with a 2-out, 2-run single to send the game to extra innings.
Yeah, Octostat is a wonderful.
Is that where you got this
page
Octostat
on Twitter?
Okay, well, I'll have to put that into my bank of information.
Yeah, they're not.
But that was a good one, Frank. Good job by you.
They don't post a lot, but like if something big happens,
well, that
like
was kind of
that,
interesting.
they're right on it.
They were on it. So the Padres back to back. And we'll see what they can get out of Nick Pivetta tonight, which has normally been good. It's funny. We've interviewed a lot of people this year around, talking baseball. And, of course, we asked pretty much all of them, what do they think about Nick Pivetta so far? He's obviously been – I don't want to say he's been the best free agent signing. Yankee fans could say that Max Fried's been pretty good, but – Nick Pivetta has been the most bang for the buck I think anybody's gotten in a free agent signing. 6-2, 274. But everybody we talked to says, oh, Nick Pivetta is doing well, but his career history arc shows that he gives you 6 or 7, really good games. Sometimes then he'll give you 6 or 7 not so good. And we hear that and we go, okay, guess what? He's allowed more than 3 earned runs only once all year. And that was at Coors Field on that Sunday afternoon. Lost to the now powerful Colorado Rockies. But since then, he's come right back. 1 run, 2 runs. Over 18 innings total. So Pivetta's been fantastic. And he's looking to shut down a Giant team, which can't score at all right now. Kyle Harrison, left-hander, will go for San Francisco, 6:45 first pitch. Sam Levitt's pregame show is upon us at 5:45. Couple of quick baseball things. Milwaukee beat Cincinnati today 9-1. That should not come as a surprise to Reds fans. Milwaukee has now beaten the Reds 12 consecutive series.
Ooh.
Yeah, they've owned them, right? 47-12 is the Brewer record against the Reds during that span.
My God.
Yeah, so that's a hang with them for Cincinnati. And speaking of series, yes, the Colorado Rockies swept the Florida Marlins, finishing it off 3-2 today. It is the Rockies' first series win since last year. They lost 24 series in a row. 22 series in a row. You have to go back to last May. the last time they swept a series. And with that sweep, Colorado's now 12-50. They're on pace now to lose only 131 games this season.
If they play one game over 500 baseball the rest of the way.
Yeah, they actually have 100 games left.
They're still losing 100 games this year.
They go 50-50. They would finish 62-100. So, yeah, they're right now have 100 exactly 100 games left. 12-50 is their record. My wife asked me the other night. She's from Denver, and she goes, what's the Rockies' record? I heard they're not doing well. I go, they're
you don't want to know.
I know. I said they're 10-50. Even she was like, what? Like, how is that possible? So, but they did sweep the Marlins, which doesn't say a whole lot for the Marlins. Angels and Red Sox had some sort of brouhaha today before the game. It involved, I don't know, Red Sox coaches, Alex Cora, Angel pitcher Tyler Anderson. Funny thing, after the game, nobody would say what happened. So it's a big mystery as to what the big argument was at Fenway Park today. Red Sox scored 2 in the 9th on a 308-foot walk-off home run by the center fielder, Sedan Rafaela. And I mentioned 308 feet because according to the StatCast, the shortest walk-off home run ever since baseball started keeping track. Taylor Ward homered for the Angels. He's got 17 now for you Padre fans that want to acquire him.
Did you see how that game started, by the way?
You a little weird, right? Angels got 4.
4 in the first for the Angels.
Yeah. Boston got 5.
Red Sox answered with 5, and then the Angels answered right back with 3.
Yeah.
So if you're a fan of all of the runs,
you got your money's worth.
Yeah.
Good thing. Hopefully you were on time to the game at Fenway today. Boston ends up winning. Anything else? Cleveland's leading the Yankees 3-0, but
why do you say that so depressing? You're like, oh
no, I because I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not depressed. That's because I don't care. But I know everybody else for some reason, the Yankee score is like more important than anything. All right, women's softball World Series, Texas just getting underway they play in Oklahoma City, by the way. So there's a lot going on in Oklahoma City this week. And the Stanley Cup Finals also start shortly. French Open today, Novak Djokovic does it again, loses the first set, and then in 3.5 hours knocks off the 3-seed Alexander Zverev. Djokovic into the semifinals. He's got 25 Grand Slam titles. He next faces number 1 Jannik Sinner. And this is neither here nor there, but I think when I tell you this, if you're not aware of it, you're going to be as surprised as a lot of people are.
Right.
Sinner, number 1 player in the world, had not 1, but 2 positive doping tests a year ago. 2.
Fun.
Yeah. And WADA, which is short for the World Anti-Doping Agency, has suggested that he be suspended for at least a year, maybe longer.
Or not,
Okay, well, that's what they've suggested. The International Tennis Integrity Agency,
oh dear Lord,
did you even know there was such a thing, determined that, yes, Sinner made a mistake, but his ban would be only 3 months, which was perfect timing to allow him to sit out between the first major of the year, the Australian Open, and this one, the French Open.
It's funny how those things tend to line up.
And a lot of people around tennis are not thrilled with this. Jannik Sinner says, oh, man, this has been hanging over me, and it's a whole thing, and I didn't do anything wrong, and it was a mistake. Well, which athlete has tested positive that wasn't a mistake? They all say it's a mistake. But they normally get, the suspension. You get the penalty. Sinner really didn't get the penalty. And so, I don't know if it's worth keeping in mind. I think tennis felt like their number 1 guy. They needed him back. I'm not, I don't know. I don't think that's right, though, at least from from where I sit right now. I mean, if I dug more into this, maybe, but we've seen everybody who tests positive says, well, I didn't do it. It was a mistake. I didn't know. Well, he's saying the same thing. So why should he not have to sit out?
Jannik Sinner, by the way, Italian. He did nothing wrong. He did
Are
absolutely
you taking
wrong.
a shot at all Italians right now?
No, why,
Oh,
no.
sounded like it. You said he's Italian. He did nothing wrong.
He did nothing wrong.
Is that because you're Italian?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
He
Okay,
did
you're
absolutely
defending
nothing wrong.
Italians.
He is completely fine.
All right. Well, he's into the semifinals where he'll face Djokovic in the next round.
By the way, really quick.
Yeah.
What was the over under on Mackenzie Gore?
Strikeouts?
6.5.
6.5. Has he already bettered that?
He's already over.
Wow.
7 through 6 innings.
Yeah. But guess what? He's not winning, is he?
It's no score.
No score.
So nobody's winning, technically.
Right. Seventh inning, Cubs and Nats are scoreless. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap the show up. And as part of that, you'll get to hear our interview with Chase Budinger, one of the great athletes ever to come out of San Diego. And he's back in action at the Ajas Arena with all the sand this weekend. Stick around after traffic. I want to share it with you. 5:19 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. getting ready to call tonight's game in San Francisco with Bob Scanlon. Bob Scanlon on the radio call. Jesse's been on TV, although that could change tonight. I don't know. Because I know Orsillo was on national TV duty last night.
Yeah, I believe he was in
Mets,
LA.
Dodgers.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll be back with the Padres, which could switch around the Padre radio and TV assignments. So stay tuned on that. But either way, you'll hear the game at 6:45 tonight. Sam Levitt is the pregame guy, beginning at 5:45. Chase Budinger, chance to hear from the former LCC star, NBA player, and beach volleyball Olympian in just a few minutes. So here's what Frank and I were talking about. Earlier today, I was talking about the Stanley Cup Finals, and I told whoever might be listening that if you're not a big hockey fan, tune in tonight anyway and watch for number 97 in the white jerseys. That's Connor McDavid, Edmonton, maybe one of the best hockey players alive. But I was wrong. He is one of the best hockey players alive, but Edmonton is not wearing white. They're wearing blue because they are the home team. And that has been the way it has been in the NHL for the last, I want to say 15, 16 years, where the home team has worn the color.
I think it was ever since the lockout.
Well, I don't recall exactly what switched it back, but the home team in the NHL now wears the colored uniform, and the visitors wear white. And it wasn't like that for all of the years that I remember growing up, but it changed 15 years ago or so. So Edmonton's in blue, Florida's in white because the game's in Edmonton. Frank and I both would like to see it reversed back. I kind of like when the visiting team wears the colors. You get to see that. Here's something that you may not know. The Dallas Cowboys, forever and ever, have always done what, jersey-wise, Frank, at home? Do you know?
It's always been the dark. Oh, no, it's always been white.
They always wear white. The Dallas Cowboys always wear white at home. I don't recall. Now, every blue moon now and again, they'll wear blue because they've got the alternate unis.
It's like the Thanksgiving
or a special
games,
game.
Yeah.
But by and large, for 50 years, the Dallas Cowboys have worn white jerseys at home. They're not the only NFL team. The Dolphins often wear white at home. The reason the Dolphins do it is because it's so hot in Florida. They want the other team to sweat in the darker uniforms. That is true, by the way. That's why Miami always wears white at home. Hasn't worked in recent years, but they've always done it. But that's not the reason that the Cowboys wear white. The reason that the Cowboys started wearing the white uniform is because Tex Schramm, the then general manager of the Cowboys way back 60s, 70s, wanted the fans to get a different color opponent in every game to come in. And so he said, we'll wear white. We want to see the blues, the reds, the greens, and all of that. It's simple.
No,
but as I just told you, not important, but a discussion nonetheless.
Something that's probably even less important now. Skinner for Edmonton has the team colored pads.
For his goaltender outfit?
Yes. Most goalies just go with white and then have the team colors as the accents.
Okay.
Now Skinner
He's
is
going
full
all out.
on. He's full on blue and orange, and I love that.
You love that.
It's fantastic.
You would not like the olden days of hockey when every goalie had the
it was
same
like
color
brown
pads and
yeah,
they
it
were
was
brown and
yep.
uglier than hell. Yeah. Now they're all color coordinated. All right. Not, like I said, important, but the kind of stuff that interests me. I think last night we were talking about sacrifice flies at this point in the show.
Yeah, because Dansby Swanson had two.
Yes,
and
so there's no telling where the conversation will go in the happy hour.
Especially in this segment where we're trying to kill time to
We're
get
not
to an
trying to
interview.
kill time. We're trying to be interesting. And by the way, the happy hour is brought to you by GL Pools, the swimming pool experts, trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season, that's in full swing. So is swim season, called GL Pools. When you do, mention the word radio. You'll get a free month of pool service. All right, Frank, what do you got? Chase Budinger is what he's got. Tony and I's visit with him. Chance for you to check it out.
How is Matt doing? Is he
We
doing all right?
we see him, but we kick him right out of the studio when we get here. So we don't spend any extra time with him. But no, he's doing well, filling in for Braden. And I know that he's upset that he's not with us now, Tony, because he would be excited to be interviewing a fellow La Costa Canyon graduate now.
No doubt. A very fun guest joining us now. Chase Budinger joins us. And as Chris mentioned, former La Costa Canyon basketball standout. That's not why he's here today, though. He's here to talk a little bit about volleyball. But Chase, thank you for your time, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, no complaints over here.
So I know you're here to talk a little bit about the AVP League that's coming to San Diego. But I think most people in San Diego have known you for your work on the hardwood. Just talk a little bit about what the transition has been like going from playing basketball to playing volleyball. How did this come about? Were you always into volleyball as well?
Yeah, I mean, for people that knew me in San Diego, I grew up playing both sports. I grew up playing both sports at a very high level. Some would say I was probably a better volleyball player than I was a basketball player.
Okay.
And the plan was to always try to play beach volleyball when my career was done with basketball, as long as my body would handle it. And when I made the switch to beach volleyball, I said, hey, why not go fully dive into it and see how well I could do and try to make the Olympics.
Yeah, Chase, it's been a great little run here in the beach volleyball world. Talk about what you've accomplished in beach volleyball and what you still hope to accomplish. And we definitely want to, tell everybody that if you want to see Chase and, the best beach volleyball players in the world, I mean, they're all coming here to San Diego. They're going to be at Viejas Arena this Saturday and Sunday. It's the only time the AVP Tour visits San Diego this year.
It's actually Friday night and Saturday night.
I beg your pardon. Yes, you're right. June 6th and 7th, but I got the wrong night. Sorry. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, everybody. Yes, thank you, Chase. But talk about what you've accomplished and what you hope to still accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, for me, making my first Olympics last year in 2024, making the Paris Olympics was a dream come true. It was a goal I set out when I switched to beach volleyball, and it was such an amazing experience. I got to play underneath the Eiffel Tower. It was such an iconic venue that we had.
Yeah, it was a great venue
that I'll never forget. And it's pretty awesome because all the other Olympians, when I talk with them, they all were so jealous that we got the best venue. And they're all coming out to being like, oh, we got to come check out a game because your guys' venue is so awesome. But it was such a really cool experience. And then, because of that, I just kind of got that itch of wanting to get back there. And now my next goal is to try to make this next Olympics, especially it being here at home.
Chase Budinger joins us, and Chase, the AVP League is kind of a new concept. This started last year, and it's been extremely well received. What makes the AVP League a little bit different than what we're used to seeing from beach volleyball?
Well, one is we're mostly in indoor venues. Like this upcoming weekend is we're in Viejas Arena. And they bring in the sand, they bring in everything, and the games that we play are very fast paced. They're much shorter games to 15, much more high power. You got to start off strong right off the bat. So it just makes the game just a lot more exciting compared to some beach volleyball tournaments, kind of are long and strung out, but these games are just fast, high paced, high powered. And you get the best of everything because you have the best athletes and the best players playing.
Chase Budinger is with us. And again, I want to make sure I confirm with everybody out there, Friday and Saturday at Viejas Arena with the volleyball. And Chase, I'm reading here, they said they're going to bring in approximately 300 tons of sand, truck that into Viejas Arena. Are you allowed, or do you know, Are they just allowed to go out to like Mission Beach and take 300 tons of sand, or how do they work that?
I think, I think I'm not really sure of exactly where they get the sand, but I think they have a special spot where they actually import the sand from. Because all the venues, the sand all feels the same, so I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you think it's similar sand?
Yeah.
How do you guys do this? I mean, there's certain sports that amaze me, and certain things I can understand. Like I don't understand how these guys hit a golf ball sometimes the way they do. I don't understand how two guys in running around in sand where nobody can run. If anybody's ever tried to run in sand, you can't go anywhere. Not only do you run around, you jump. Flying high into the air. You have to be able to dig. You have to be able to set. You have to be able to kill. You have to have all aspects of the game. And the kind of shape you have to be in to play the sport has to be incredible. So talk a little bit about some of the athleticism of beach volleyball that maybe we are appreciating, but we don't really understand exactly what we're appreciating.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very valid point. I think, one, you do have to be in great shape because moving around in the sand is exhausting. And then two, your body adapts to it. So you have to really practice. You have to get out there and play and just keep working because what happens is your body kind of adapts to the sand more than it would for a hardwood or anything else. And that becomes your new norm. But, it is quite interesting because when you do watch us play, we make it look so effortlessly and make it look so easy. But when you try to do it or a normal person tries to do it on their own, they realize really quick, man, this is a really tough sport.
No doubt. For anybody who's tried to train in sand, you get the gist of what Chase is talking about. Chase, my question for you is the wear and tear. I mean, you played a lot of basketball in your lifetime. Now you are moving to the beach volleyball. Is the wear and tear, is your body able to kind of endure this despite kind of going through what you have playing in the NBA? It just seems like both sports can wear the body down a little bit. What's the recovery, I guess I should ask, compared from basketball to what you're doing now?
Yeah, I really think that being in the sand has helped my body kind of heal. Towards the end of my career, my basketball career, I was having a lot of injuries, big injuries, small injuries, reoccurring injuries, especially with all my joints. And when I made the transition, the sand actually kind of helped strengthen those joints. And I really haven't had any problems since. And I really give a lot of thanks and praise to just being in the sand and training in the sand. It's really helped the body a lot and made me feel young again.
Speaking of feeling young, and Chase, we appreciate the time. I don't want to hold you too much longer here, but the fact that you have now been retired from the NBA for 9 years is making all of us feel older. We're not feeling younger. We're feeling older.
Yeah,
it seems like just yesterday
here.
It seems like just yesterday you were drafted. Real quick, what do you think of the style of the NBA? Do you still watch a lot of NBA? It seems like they're very reliant on the 3-point shot now, more so probably than when you played. And what are your thoughts, real quick?
I love the NBA. I watch it religiously. Especially playoff basketball is one of my favorite times of year. And the game's changed a lot. I wish I was coming out of college now because I feel like the game suits me more now than when I came out.
Yeah.
But it's a fun game to watch. And it was funny this morning when I was talking with my coach and my other teammate about the finals, was because I played for Indiana and the Pacers. They asked me if I was rooting for them. And I was like, well, there's one cool fact is there's one player on that team that I played with is still on that team, and which is Miles Turner, who's been on that team for 10 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
So at least I still have that.
Chase Budinger, you can catch him as well as the AVP League at Viejas Arena at San Diego State this Friday and Saturday, June 6th and 7th. Tickets start at just $39. You can purchase it at avp.com/ticket. Chase, we so appreciate your time coming. Good luck, and Good luck in your endeavors moving forward in terms of the next Olympics as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Nice catching up with you, Chase.
No problem. Chase Budinger, now a pro beach volleyball player.
Into the sports, the Viejas Arena, Friday and Saturday night. So there you go. Now you know how you don't know exactly how, but we have an idea what they do. The 300 tons of sand that he said feel the same in every arena. So now I'm wondering, did they just transfer the same sand?
It's called manufactured sand.
I guess so. Okay. So they're not going to go down to so we're kind of clear. We don't think that they're going to go down to Mission Beach and just grab 300 tons of sand off that beach and bring it to Viejas Arena.
I wouldn't think so, because I don't know of any beaches near the Eiffel Tower. So if this sand feels the same to that sand,
they might have bought sand from a closer beach. I don't know. Are there any beach? Normandy Beach.
Dunkirk.
Yeah, right. Normandy. I don't know.
There's a couple of famous French beaches around.
That's the only thing I could come up with. I'm pretty excited I came up with one, to be honest with you. I will tell you that having been to Normandy, it's nowhere near Paris. So
yeah,
they would have to truck that sand quite a ways to get it to Paris for the Olympics. All right, Stanley Cup Finals indeed underway, and underway with a bang. 1:06 into the first period. Leon Draisaitl, who led the NHL in goal scoring this year, has the first goal of the finals. Got it on a pretty much a wide open rebound. Puck bounced to him. He tucked it in there. 1-0 Edmonton leading Florida in the first period. I told you earlier, this is a big deal for the fans north of the border. Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup, a team from Canada, since 1993. The reason that kind of sticks in the craw of Canadians is because for the longest time, the Stanley Cup was almost always in Canada. I know that doesn't, you probably, like, how is that possible? Well, Montreal used to win it every year, and if they didn't, Toronto won it, or if they didn't, Edmonton won it. Calgary got in there for one, I think. So there was a couple of different stretches where the Stanley Cup was in Canada for like 10 straight years. The teams from the U.S., the Rangers, Blackhawks, they very rarely won it. So, Red Wings won several, but from the original days of hockey, it almost always ended up in either Montreal or Toronto. Well, this is no longer true. And since the Canadians won in 1993, you had Vancouver, 1994, lost to your Rangers in Game 7, Frank.
I'm an Islander fan.
Oh, that's right. Not your Rangers.
No.
2004, Calgary lost to Tampa Bay. 2006, Edmonton lost. 2007, Ottawa lost to the Anaheim Ducks. Yes, the Ducks won a cup. Yep. 2011, Vancouver again lost, this time to Boston. 2021, Canadians lost to Tampa Bay. And last year, Edmonton lost to Florida. So it's been 7 consecutive appearances for the Canadian teams without taking home the cup. And I can tell you that if they win the Stanley Cup, they'll be quite happy about it.
It's going to be a party in Edmonton, I'm sure.
There, and I think almost everywhere. Maybe I guess Calgary won't party because they're fierce rivals with Edmonton. Yeah. But it's a big deal to those guys. So I kind of want Edmonton to win it for that reason. Plus, I don't know. There's something wrong with a beach city winning the Stanley Cup like all the time.
It does feel off, especially there's been a lot in Florida recently.
Yes.
With the Panthers now, and then the reign of terror that Tampa Bay had.
Tampa Bay won 2 in a row. Florida is trying to win.
They should have won only one.
Tampa Bay?
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, they won
too many men on the ice.
All right.
When they
well,
scored.
that's I don't know what you're. I don't recall that.
That was Game 7 against the Islanders.
Early in the playoffs.
I think it was in 2020.
Not that you're bitter. Not that you're bitter.
No, I'm
right.
good.
Good. Yeah, Florida won. Before that, it was Las Vegas, another winter city. Yeah. Colorado Avalanche, I'll say, okay, at least Denver, you got some snow. Before that, Tampa Bay. You had the Kings in there twice. You had Anaheim. We just talked about them. I mean, the Cup has been in warm weather sites quite often in the last 15 years.
It has.
So we'll see if it returns to the bitter cold this year. Here we are again, 1 minute away from the end of the show. I want to remind you that coming up is not only Sam Levitt's pregame show and Padre baseball, but tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., it is the weekly Padres Roundtable. It is 1 hour of commercial-free, nothing but Padre talk. And we'll have it for you from 10 to 11 a.m. tomorrow. Frank and I return tomorrow after the Padres-Giants game.
Post-game show.
Post-game show. So we'll look for you then. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. Enjoy whatever games you're watching tonight. You might be watching and listening. It could be a busy night, so enjoy it. From all of us at 97.3 The Fan.